first conference win of the year. The Tigers are calling out the Jaguars of Southern next on BET. It's a series that began back in 1958, and 44 meetings later, Jackson State and Southern are prepared to get busy in front of a hype crowd in the Louisiana Superdome. Tonight, in a key early matchup in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, the Southern Jaguars meet the Jackson State Tigers in a good old-fashioned catfight. Hello, everybody. I'm George Johnson. Well, for Jackson State, the theme is control your own destiny. Too many times in the past, they would play an early conference game, lose, and then as they make a run at the championship, have to win all their games late and rely on somebody else to come away with a victory over somebody ahead of them. They know that every conference game is very important, including this first one against Southern, a club that has already won in the SWAC. My broadcast partner is the former New York Giant running back, Billy Taylor, and, you know, big games bring out the big players. I would assume we'll see something nice from Jackson State quarterback Robert Kent.
Robert Kent is a great athlete with a strong arm. He's got all the tools to be a good quarterback. He's tough and he takes control. Last week, he did not throw a touchdown, but he ran for 2. And he's helped by a running game that emerged last week. They've got great depth at running back. They're averaging 160 yards a game, 4 yards a carry, and Southern is going to have to stop that running game if they have a chance.
Yeah, throw in the fact that they also got 6, 7, 8 guys they can throw the football to, and Robert Hughes has an arsenal that's fully loaded.
You got all the eggs in your basket and none of them are broken, and I like to have it like that because I'd rather for me to have them than someone else to have them.
Robert Hughes sounds a little selfish with all that talent. As for Pete Richardson, his counterpart across the sidelines, well, you don't know what this guy's going to do. He's got 10 defensive linemen. He'll play 4 running backs, 2 quarterbacks. But there is one guy we know he's going to go to and go to often, and that's his wide receiver, Mike Haynes.
And he's 6'5". He's a senior. He's got great hands. He runs a good route. He was hurt by a streak of 13 games with a touchdown last week, but I think his lack of confidence because of his knee injury is kind of hurting a little bit. But I really feel that a couple catches today, you can get that confidence back.
You see, if you get it in the area of Hayes, he's going to make the catch.
Absolutely.
But the fact is, who's going to get it to it?
Well, he's got a 2-headed quarterback system, and sometimes when you have 2 quarterbacks running the offense, it means that really no one has stepped up. And I think Quincy Richard is the better runner, but he's not as accurate. Sometimes he makes bad decisions. Anthony Fisher, he's got a better arm, he stays in the pocket, and I think he's slow-footed, and that could help out Jackson State today.
Now, last week, Jackson State right here on BET knocked off Tennessee State for their first win of the year. Southern got the win last week also against Arkansas Pine Bluff. So 2 teams coming off victories and ready to go right here on BET.
Today's Black College football game is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, bringing people together with low fares, and by Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with a crisp, clean, and refreshing taste, known only to the king of beers, and by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
And welcome back to the Louisiana Superdome, where, yeah, it's starting to get all hyped up. You see the sonic boom of the South, Jackson State and Southern prepared to do battle in this big SWAC battle. And that, of course, means that Pete Richardson and his club has got to be ready for a high, potent offense coming your way from Jackson State. And they can come your way in so many different ways.
Not only do you have to worry about the wide receivers, you have to worry about their running game. They have a fine running back that have a balanced offense, so that's our concern.
Of course, he's talking about an offense. Total yards they're averaging, and I'm talking about Jackson State, obviously, averaging 489 yards a game. You made the point, 160 on the ground, 329 in the air.
But, George, that helps the quarterback because any time that the linebackers and the safeties have to worry about the running game, it helps the play action. Robert Kent will totally benefit if the Jackson State Tigers can step up and run the ball.
You saw the series record, 45th time these 2 teams are meeting, and Southern kicks it off. Michael Johnson fields it at about the 13-yard line. He muffed the return, and then was able to pick it up and get good yards out to about the 31-yard line. So let's take a look at this offense. Today's starting lineups are brought to you by Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with the crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. There's your offensive line. Chris Bates has been solid in the middle. Albert Stinson, a young guy who they really like. Lawrence Nolan gets the start at running back, but you'll see Tanaka Counselor a lot in this one. Chris Jones is the money man, averaging 18 yards every time he catches the football. 1st and 10 for Kent as Tim Manning goes in motion. No backs with Kent, and he drops it off to Jones, and Jones makes the catch and gets it out to about the 35. Now a look at our starting defense for Southern. Young, Coleman, Smith, and St. Cyr are your line, but again, they're going to use 10 guys on this defensive front. Get used to these names, but be prepared to hear a couple of others. Your linebackers are Green. Chris Cooper has been outstanding. The transfer from LSU, Kendrick Paul, and Lenny Williams, Cody Smith, Herman Hartman, and Randy Williams are your defensive secondary. 2nd down now, make it 6 for Kent. Hands it off to Counselor. Counselor picks up 1st down yards on that play right there.
And George, he runs it off the right side. Right tackle number 69, Johnny Max, did an outstanding job. As you look at the offensive line, they completely get man-to-man, open up a big hole for Counselor. Counselor shows his athleticism and his speed and his toughness, picks up a good chunk of yardage.
Now what I tell you, they told us yesterday that Lawrence Nolan was going to be the starting running back. It took them exactly one play to get Tanaka Counselor out there. Of course, had a tremendous game last week. He is the SWAC's second leading rusher as we speak. 1st and 10, ball at the 47, and Kent decides to hold on to the football and runs right into Chris Cooper, the middle linebacker.
I do think it was a design quarterback draw because there was nobody in the backfield. All he did was take 3 steps back and follow his center. A good job of picking up 4 yards. Anytime a quarterback picks up 4 yards, that makes the defense at a disadvantage.
So Kent gets inside Southern territory. At the 49-yard line, it'll be 2nd down. Make it 6. 2 receivers split to the right. I formation behind Kent. Little play action, gets rid of it. Oh, a nice little catch by Tim Manning, who jumped up in the air, really didn't need to, but made the catch anyway.
I thought it was excellent execution because the safety came off the corner, and sometimes it leaves them in man-to-man. You watch the safety coming off the corner. He's not picked up, but the quarterback knows he's coming, and Kent has a quick release, does a good job of getting it, pitch and catch. Big 1st down for Jackson State.
That was Herman Hartman, the safety, coming up off that corner you talked about. He already has 4 tackles for a loss, so he makes a lot of plays in the backfield for Southern. 1st and 10, balls at the 40. Kent, good little fake, holds on to it, is knocked out of bounds by Lenny Williams after he picks up about 2.
Now, the reason that play broke down because I feel that Counselor went the wrong way. Usually you can't blame it on the quarterback because he knows the system. And I think Kent realized what happens, and he was lucky to pick up a yard. But he did a good job. When a play is busted like that, the quarterback has to take what the defense gives.
A good look at Counselor, the senior from Clarksdale, Mississippi. As I said, the SWAC's 2nd leading rusher against Tennessee State last week. 14 carries for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. 2nd down now for Jackson State. Again, they go back to that I formation. Nolan in the backfield with Counselor, but Kent's throwing, and I don't think Tim wanted to catch that football in double coverage.
Well, see, I think the quarterback predetermined where he was going because they kind of faked like it was going to be a zone, but then at the last minute, the corner comes around. He throws it a little bit too inside the corner. The receiver doesn't want to touch that. But I think the play action pass is beginning to work because the running game is working.
So again, Jackson State, 1st in the SWAC in total offense.
This is their first 3rd down situation of the game.
Single setback is Counselor as Torrey Ross, the freshman, goes in motion. Kent, that pass looks like it was tipped at the line of scrimmage. It'll be incomplete, intended for Tim Manning. And that sets up a 4th down.
That time, George, the offensive line did a good job of giving him protection, but they had dropped more men off in coverage, and there was really nowhere to go. As you look at it, he's got plenty of time to throw, but there's really just nobody open because the defense does a good job of dropping back. He didn't really put enough mustard on the ball, and it's good he threw it low because it could have been broken up easier.
Well, looks like Ashley is going to be back to punt the football. Standing back deep to receive it is Ezra Landry. They'll let this one bounce, and it'll bounce out of bounds. And Southern will be deep in their own territory. They're actually waving. It looks like they're going to put it up at the 22-yard line, which is where Southern takes over 1st and 10. No score here from the Louisiana Superdome. We'll be back right after this. The Louisiana Superdome, George Johnson along with Billy Taylor and our BET crew. Scoreless, Southern with their first possession of the game. And already have a whistle, as we have illegal procedure, so Southern starts now 1st and 15. Quincy Richard is your quarterback. Just a junior, completed 59. And there's Richard right there, the junior, who's completed 59% of his passes coming in. Sims, Wells, Jenkins has been a solid all-SWAC performer throughout his career. Victor Ike, transfer from Texas, is the running back, along with Hayes, Plain, Jobert, and Ard. So here we are, 1st and 15. Richard immediately throws it out in the flat to Kentrell Plain. Plain makes the catch and stopped by a host of defenders. Let's take a look at the defense. And that is LV Archie, Dion DuBois, Arthur Sample, and Bobby Mays are your defensive front. McGowan, Andrews, and Mark, 3 very active linebackers for Jackson State. Morgan Cooley, Corey Bonner is a solid safety, and Lamont Willard, one of the best tacklers. And we have a fumble on the field right now, and it looks as if they're having problems with the exchange.
Sometimes when you have a fumble on the opening snap, it means that the quarterback is a little bit too pumped up, and sometimes that shows you his youthfulness.
So here's 3rd down now. Southern again in that shotgun formation. A host of receivers out there. Kenneth Peoples is your lone setback. Richard forced out of the pocket, looking downfield, and steps out of bounds at about the 26-yard line. So that'll make it 4th down.
As you look at the replay on this particular play, there's really nobody open. They do a good job of playing zone defense. Richard breaks outside the pocket. The only thing I disagree is you have to throw the ball away right here. Don't take the negative yardage.
So that brings out Colby Miller, the punter, averaging 35 yards a punt. Tim Manning standing back at about the 32-yard line. Low kick. Doesn't necessarily take a great bounce, and it's down at about the 42-yard line, where Jackson State will take over 1st and 10. We're scoreless here at the Superdome. Jackson State with their 2nd possession when we get back. Jackson State with possession of the football at their 42-yard line. Jackson State and Southern, 2 foes that love to go at each other, and yet there's no love lost between these 2 teams. I formation behind Robert Kent. And he pitches it back to Kanaka Counselor. Counselor finds some room. Counselor down the sideline, knocked out of bounds at about the 27-yard line of Southern. Hartman made the stop, but not before Counselor picked up big yards, 27 to be exact.
Now, as you look at the replay, the offensive line does a good job of man-on-man. The fullback leads around the corner, seals this corner, allows Counselor to get up and run for yards, and uses his total speed to get there. Excellent execution by the offensive line. Good job by the fullback, letting him get to the corner. Good crab back. Watch Counselor use his speed, get down the sideline, pick up a 1st down.
It was nice to watch him. He almost baited the defense like he was going to cut back in, and then went back to the outside for more yardage. Another fumble on the play, and we've had 2 miscues. This time, Southern takes advantage as they pick up the fumble and will have possession. Seemed like a miscommunication between Kent and Counselor on that one.
That's the second play where I think Counselor has gone the wrong way and has hurt the execution. As you look at it from a ground level, the quarterback gets the ball smoothly, but Counselor's going the wrong way, and that runs right into Robert Kent.
And Southern gets the fumble. Kendrick Paul gives his club the football back. Part of that miscue for Jackson State, where they turn the football over. As you see the turnovers, in 8 wins, turn the ball over a little under 3 times, and the 6 losses over 5 times in a ball game. Protecting the football, I formation behind Richard, and he gives it to his deep back, and that looked like it was Kenneth Peoples with the carry.
What's really something on Peoples, he had a good game last week, but he does a good job of keeping his head up and having great vision. Look at that average per carry, 5.8. He's a good running back with good vision, keeps his head up, and it keeps his feet moving in the hole.
Had his coming out party last week against Arkansas Pine Bluff, where he rushed for 98 yards on 17 carries. Now they try the option. Peoples with the football, looking for a little room, and he's brought down just shy of a first down. Corey Bonner is the guy who makes the stop.
Jackson State does a good job of pursuing Peoples because he's the kind of running back that you have to gang tackle. You got to bring a lot of people in there. And I think Southern's doing a good job of making the offensive line work for him.
So here we now, 3rd down, and another miscue, another fumble on the field, and this time it looks like Jackson State may have gotten it back. Richard had trouble with it after taking the snap, and Elgin Andrews, the middle linebacker, gets the miscue.
As you look at the replay, he did not have a grip of the ball. One of the offensive linemen must have touched him, but Richard has got to secure the football before he hands the ball off. Those fumbles are inexcusable.
So we've seen it now twice, back-to-back possessions, as you get a good look at Gary Jenkins, a 2-time all-SWAC performer.
But you have to make note, they've had a lot of injuries on the offensive line, and maybe that is leading to them not really taking care of the football.
1st and 10 now for the Tigers. Ball is inside the 40-yard line of Southern. Lawrence Nolan with the carry. And every time Lawrence Nolan gets up ahead of steam, you might want to get out the way at 6'2", 230 pounds.
All you want for Nolan to do is get his shoulder square to the line of scrimmage. Because he's so big, he's going to bring tacklers. Offensive line did a good job allowing him to get to the point of attack without being touched.
A senior from Detroit, Michigan, picks up a 1st down on the carry. Run good for 11 yards. Ball is at the 28-yard line now of Southern. There's Nolan again. This time, nothing doing. Defensive line was waiting for him. That's Jonathan Ford leading the way, getting a little help from Kendrick Paul.
But as you look at the replay, number 42, Chris Cooper, the linebacker, blitzes in the hole, and he's the one who gets to Lawrence Nolan first. Does a good job of allowing the defense to come and make the tackle. But Chris Cooper, the fine middle linebacker, did a good job of getting penetration to stop Nolan before he gets started.
2nd down now in 3. Single setback is Nolan behind Kent. 2 receivers split to either side. Kent's going to throw. Kent over the middle. Kent complete. To Manning. Inside the 10-yard line. Run out of bounds at about the 6. 25-yard pickup for the junior from Jackson, Mississippi.
Excellent job of play action. He watches him come across the formation. I think he does an excellent job of coming across, giving him time to throw, and a simple catch and run. Big play for Jackson State. That play was made by the offensive line, giving him time to throw, allowing Manning to come across the formation.
So Kent, the junior, doing a good job. The leader in the SWAC in passing and total offense has his club knocking at the door. Counselor making a move inside the 5-yard line. Again, Paul is there to make the tackle for Southern.
Now, George, I felt that Counselor should have taken it outside because he had plenty of room and he's got good speed. He could have made it to the corner and possibly scored, but he predetermined he was going up inside.
Picked up 2 yards on that play. 2nd down and goal. Clock still rolling. We're still in the 1st quarter. Maybe making a change now. A little audible. He's going touchdown throw. And his freshman open, but Kent holds on to the football. Stopped just shy of the goal line. It looks like he had Torrey Ross on the out pattern and decided to hold on to it.
As you look at the replay from ground level, you can't see it from the beginning, but I thought Kent predetermined he was going to run the touchdown. I thought he had someone a little deeper in the end zone that was wide open where he could have made the touchdown. I thought Kent would have thrown the touchdown because he's trying to break Aaron Manera's record, and I felt that maybe he should have taken the throw instead of the run.
He's 6 touchdown passes shy of catching Mark Washington and passing him for the all-time record for touchdown passes in school history. Timeout on the field as Jackson State is going to talk about it. Pete Richardson trying to come up with a plan to stop the Tigers from getting in the end zone. 4 points a contest, looking for their first 6. 3rd and goal.
They got the big backfill in there.
Oh, yeah.
Brandon Cox is at the running back.
And they bring Nolan in motion. Kent decides to hold on to it. Touchdown, Jackson State. They had every big back on the roster in the backfield, and Kent looked at the ball and said, yeah, right, I'm taking this one in myself.
As you look at the execution, Robert Kent with his 6'5" frame just follows the center, goes in for the score. He puts number 39, Nolan, in motion to try to bring one of the linebackers out. Kent takes it in for the touchdown.
And for Robert Kent, that's his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season.
He had 2 last week.
Well, Dominic Addison, and I don't know, it looks as if Dominic Addison has been listed as the punter, number 14. Ashley has been listed as the place kicker at number 15. Now, either they switch jerseys on us,
or they're trying to fool us.
They're messing with us. Welcome back to the Louisiana Superdome. As Omega Psi Phi representing in the house. As Jackson State takes the early 7-0 lead over Southern. And they're still flying.
I thought Jackson State did a good job of taking advantage of a turnover and making Southern pay for it, getting 7 points.
So now Jackson State will kick off. Back deep, Chris Davis for Southern, trying to get to the outside, and a nice short tackle by Ronald McRae. 13-yard pickup on the return, 1st and 10 now for Southern. And we talked about it before, the fact that this is a very young offensive line
with a lot of
for
injuries.
Southern.
And they seem like they're not playing well together because an offensive line has got to be one unit. All the guys have to be on the same page at the same time. Right now, you don't have everyone playing all together, and I think that's because of the many injuries. It's hurt them.
And take it back, 'cause it's not really young. I mean, on the right side, you got a senior and a junior. Your center's a senior, but on the left, 2 sophomores. And like you said, been shuffling all over the place. But Pete Richardson does that throughout the season. 1st and 10. Richard escapes pressure. They're going to carry it out to about the 28-yard line. The Tigers better be careful coming into those tackles late.
Now, as we look at the replay, Richard is in there because he's a great athlete. And nobody blitzes him. He just takes off, shows his athleticism, picks up the 1st down. Picks up good 8 to 9 yards. That's what Southern needs to get going. They need to get some momentum offensively to keep their defense off the field.
Lewis Andrews in on the tackle. It was a pickup of 9. 2nd and 1 for Richard and the Jaguar. 3 receivers split to the left, 1 to the right. We're going to have a pass, ball in the air. The pass was intended for his receiver. And that was number 87.
As you see the end of it, I thought Richard put a little bit too much air on the ball. He's got to bring the ball down a little bit, throw it more on the line because the receiver was open. He didn't get it to him in time. He waited after the receiver made his break before he threw the ball. He's got to throw it a little more sooner if he wants to make the reception.
3rd down and 1, they're going to go I formation. Give the ball to their deep back. He picks up the 1st down and more. Kenneth Peoples with the run. Finally stopped by Willard, but not before he picks up the first down and 10 yards.
As you look at the ground level, offensive line does a good job, and these are how you pop big runs. He shows his quick feet, good quickness, keeps his head up, his feet moving, gets positive yardage. I like this Kenneth Peoples because he's got quick feet and good acceleration and good eye movement and good vision in the hole.
Just a sophomore from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. They try it with Peoples again. This time, nothing doing as he runs into L.V. Archie, 6'3", 290 pounds.
The L.V. Archie does a good job of shedding his block, getting in the backfield. As you look at the replay, you watch 98 shed his block, come off the corner, and just stick Peoples. That's the thing that hurts running backs when the defensive line gets penetration across the line.
Second down now and 10. 3 men rushing for the Tigers of Jackson State, giving Richard plenty of time, looking downfield. Pass was intended for Kentrell Plain as he overthrows him. Good coverage, though, by Michael Cooley.
They were in man coverage that time, and sometimes it's a good play when you throw deep because you want to make the defensive backs think they can get beat deep. And I think that opens up underneath if you can come back with that.
So with that incomplete pass, Southern now is faced with a 3rd and 10. They've converted 39% of their third down opportunities this year. Richard will be the only one in the backfield with 5 receivers.
Here comes the blitz.
He's got some running room. Makes a move to avoid the linebacker, Marion Mark. But it looks like he's still going to be a yard or 2 shy of a first down. They're going to give him 8 yards on the pickup, making it 4th down and 2.
Now, Quincy Richard, he kind of bails out a little bit too soon. When you have 3rd and long with only 3 rushers, you have to sit in the pocket with a little bit more discipline and wait for your receivers to get open because the offensive line did a good job of protecting him that time.
Miller punts, Manning back to receive the punt. Last week we saw a lot from Michael Johnson in the role of punt returner, but Tim Manning taking over as he waves his teammates off and says, let this one get downed and we'll take it over. 1st and 10 at the 18. So Jackson State with a 7-0 lead has possession of the football with 4:23 left in the first. For Southern trails Jackson State 7-0. And the Tigers of JSU have the football 1st and 10 at the 18-yard line. Robert Kent is your quarterback, who, as I said earlier, has 53 actually, or make that 58 touchdown passes. Mark Washington has the school record at 63. But this time, Robert Kent decides to keep it on the ground, gives it to Tanaka Counselor, and he goes nowhere.
The right side of the Southern defensive line did a good job of getting penetration, but the other side of the offensive line for Jackson State pulled in the play, allowing the defenders to follow them into the hole, stopping it for a loss. But good job by Southern following the pulling offensive lineman into the hole.
He lost 4 yards on that play. That now makes it 2nd and 14. 2 receivers split to either side. Kent, he's going to throw the football. Didn't find anybody downfield. Decides to hold on to it, and Kevin Young drags him down.
George, that's what I call a coverage sack because the defenders did a good job of denying the receivers any room, and Kent just tucked it and tried to get what he did. Kevin Young did a good job of falling back on the play and making the sack.
Picked up 1 yard on that play, so now it makes it 3rd down and 13.
So that doesn't count as a sack.
What do you think? I mean, is Jackson State in sync offensively from what you can see?
No, I feel they're really not in their groove because I think the receivers are not using separation so that Kent has a place to throw.
3 receivers split to the left as they get it off to the wide receiver. Chris Jones breaks free of 1 tackler and gets the first down. With the effort, fumbled the football and lost it. Jones did a great job to get by 1 tackler, but then was unable to hold on to the football, and Southern gets it back.
I thought Robert Kent did a good job of taking what the defense gives. As you look at the replay, he's got plenty of time. There's nobody open. He hits Chris Jones out of the backfoot. Jones does a good job of slipping the tackle, gets to the sideline. When he gets to the sideline, he's got to tuck that ball away. Good job by gang tackling, taking that ball out, and that is what hurt Jackson State the first 2 games is turnovers. This is what puts your defense in a tough position.
D'Angelo Lewis lost the helmet on the stick. But it was that hit that caused the turnover. 1st and 10, Peoples takes the handoff, and Jackson State, almost as if they knew what play was coming.
The good thing is that Jackson State's defensive line is not getting beat off the ball. They're not getting pushed back at all. That makes Kenneth People have to do a move before he gets to the line of scrimmage. Good job by the JSU defense getting penetration across the line.
Bobby Mays leading the way for Jackson State on that play. But Peoples picked up about a yard. Make it 2nd down now and 9. Peoples again, finding a little hole. And again, good yardage on the carry. I mean, this is an offense that talked a lot about the fact that they had 4 receivers. We're going to go with a no-huddle offense, and yet we see them keeping it on the ground and putting it in the breadbasket of Peoples.
Well, Peoples is a running back that he can do a lot by himself. All you need to do is put man on man, and he does a good job of picking up good yardage.
He picked up 7 on that one. 3rd down now and 2. Quincy Richard now looking over at the sideline as if they want to make a change. Play clock down to 3. Richard gets it off over the middle. Touchdown, Jackson State. Big time play as he finds his receiver for the touchdown, and that's Chris Davis. Davis with the 28-yard touchdown reception, his first catch of the season. Boy, you got to credit Richard there. Here's a guy that prior to the snap looked like he had no clue what was going on. As Colby Miller comes in to convert the point after, and we're tied up at 7 apiece. But Richard had no idea and was able to make the play happen.
As you look at the replay, it's a straight drop back. He throws a post pattern right perfectly on the nose. I thought that Lamar, number 25, should have had it. Now watch him on the post pattern. He takes it right into the post. He's supposed to keep it on the numbers. The ball is delivered perfectly. I thought number 25, Lamont Williard, should have laid out and maybe tipped the ball. As you look at the replay again, the offensive line does a good job of giving Richard time. He throws the ball right there. Touchdown. Good play, good reaction. Quincy Richard does a good job of throwing the ball right on the money. He didn't waste any time, put the ball right as the receiver got into his break to the post. The ball was in the air.
So Quincy Richard, the junior from Louisiana, throws his 3rd touchdown of the season. And it goes to that young man right there, Chris Davis, a junior from Greenburgh, Louisiana. And Southern ties the game up at 7 apiece with 1:22 left here in the first quarter.
It's another advantage they took because of a turnover. They took advantage of it and scored points. That's what you have to do, make them pay when you turn the ball over.
So Miller kicks off. Jackson State trying to come back. And on the return, that's Charles Lee, upended after a 16-yard pickup. So this scoring drive lasted just 3 plays when 36 yards capped by the 28-yard touchdown pass from Richard to Chris Davis.
And that's how Coach Robert Hughes gets gray hair because of the turnovers.
Now, you know Robert's going to pull us up later and say, gray hair? What gray hair are you talking about?
He had it in mustache also. Now, it's imperative that Jackson State University make sure that they're conservative and they execute their plays right now because the momentum is turning towards Southern.
So the ball's at the 28-yard line now. Robert Kent will see what he can do. Got to calm this crowd down.
They're showing blitz, backing off.
There's Kent. No option. Oh, my. And Counselor goes nowhere. Hartman. We talked about his knack for making tackles behind the line of scrimmage. He does it again there.
As you watch the replay on the end zone, as it comes around, you see Hartman come up from the outside and take the legs out of Counselor. Counselor doesn't have a chance to do anything because Hartman plays it perfectly. That's how you do it. You bring the safety up, you take away the pitch man because they took away the quarterback. The defensive end did a good job taking away the quarterback. Hartman comes up and makes Counselor pay for it. That's a hard tackle, good execution on the defense.
And a loss of 2 yards. 2nd and 12 for Kent. Trying a little screen pass. Here comes Jonesy. Jonesy and a good, solid tackle. Again, this time by Randy Williams, the senior from Brandon, Mississippi. If he doesn't make that tackle, Jones is still running.
Absolutely. Randy Williams did a good job of coming up inside. It was a quick screen to Chris Jones. He comes up outside, follows his blockers, and picks up a good chunk of yardage. And I think you have to make plays like that where the quarterback doesn't have to throw the ball very far. Chris Jones runs off the field, but excellent job of picking up the first down when they had negative yardage.
They must have picked up about 12 yards on the play because they got the first down. The ball is marked up at about the 38. I formation behind Kent. He gives it to his deep back Counselor. Counselor again off that right side, and he's getting behind Johnny Maddox and Albert Stinson as they continue to grind yards against Southern. We've come to the end of the first quarter and we're all knotted up.
Of today's game is brought to you by Pizza Hut, home of the Big New Yorker. Thin and crispy, pan, stuffed crust pizza, and more.
And welcome back to the Louisiana Superdome, as we're all tied up at 7 apiece. Jackson State and Southern. 2 folks out the SWAC. Going at it again for the 45th time. Their school histories. 2nd down and 6 for Robert Kent of Jackson State. Got a good block right there. Looking for another one. Got it. Got it. Got the football. Picked up by Southern. They're going down. And it looks like the football was picked up by Randy Williams and returned 45 yards unofficially for a touchdown. And he was getting great blocks there.
As you look at the replay, number 78, Matthews does a good job of getting them some time, but then he goes back toward the middle, and he doesn't tuck the football away. You must secure the ball. Randy Williams picks it up, and that's a big momentum setter for the Southern University. Did an excellent job of really pursuing Kent, and he did a bad job of tucking the ball away.
Miller with the PAT, and Southern, who trailed in this one 7-0, comes right back. Before we go anywhere else, let's first take a look at those first quarter stats. And they're brought to you by Pizza Hut, home of the Big New Yorker, the thin and crispy, pan, stuffed crust pizza, and more. First downs belonging to Jackson State. But as you take a look at these stats, what do you see?
The difference in the game is turnovers. That has hurt Jackson State all year round. That's the reason they're losing this game today. 2 turnovers by Jackson State led to 2 scores by Southern. That's why they're down by 7.
Well, Jackson State owns time of possession, but they don't own the lead. We'll be back. Along with Billy Taylor and the rest of our BET crew, Southwest Airlines presentation of black college football here on BET continues. We've got 14:44 left in our first half, and if you just joined us, we missed a big-time play by Randy Williams, who scooped up the fumble and raced the other way for 45 yards and a touchdown to give Southern the lead.
Now, you can't fault the effort by Robert Kent, but he's got to secure the football.
So Tim Manning now deep to receive the kickoff, takes it at the 10-yard line. Still looking for some room to get outside, and he's brought down by number 18, Charles Russell, after picking up 11.
Now, Kent gets a lot of help from his teammates but he doesn't have the ball secure. You've got to secure the football once you're running in a crowd. He stumbles a little bit. The ball falls out. It falls right into the charging Randy Williams' hand. He knows what to do. He takes it home to the house.
Looks like he and Counselor, when they bumped each other, that may have knocked the football
But he
out of
still
Kent's
didn't have it
hand.
secured.
Absolutely.
He's got to secure the football.
So it's first and 10 now. Ball's at the 21-yard line. In motion, Torrey Ross. There's Kent. Good protection. Finds his receiver. It's complete to Chris Jones.
I have to give head coach Robert Hughes a lot of credit because he comes back, puts the ball right in Kent's head, lets him throws the ball. He completes it to Chris Jones, picks up a first down. But that's showing confidence in your quarterback by letting him come right back and throwing the ball after a terrible fumble.
In the first quarter, Robert Kent was fine at the 35. Ross again in motion. They give it to Counselor. Oh, slick little move. Stay on his feet right there. As he did a little shaking and baking for Chris Cooper, the linebacker.
I thought Counselor did an excellent job of using his quick feet to avoid tackles and picking up positive yardage. He was stopped in the backfield for literally no gain, does a good job of showing why he is the leading rusher for Jackson State.
Picked up 7 on that one, 2nd down and 3. Now whistles everywhere.
He did a lot of that by himself, George.
The officials say this is their timeout. And it looks like we may have a player at midfield who is down. We'll give you an update on that when we get back. Louisiana Superdome, where Southern leads 14-7, and we just took a timeout as Cody Smith was down at midfield, but it was good to see the senior from New Orleans walk off the field on his own power, so it looks like he's okay. And Robert Kent has Southern all antsy and jumping off sides.
I think that was Michael Matthews, the left tackle, number 78. He probably anticipated the snap count a little bit.
False start. Offense. It remains 2nd down.
So that nice little run by Tanaka Counselor is nullified as they have to move back now 5 yards. 2nd down as you're watching another Southwest Airlines presentation of black college football here on BET. 2nd down and 8. As Tim Manning in motion for Kent. Quick step back and pass to Jones. Jones stretching for a first down. Looks like he's still going to be shy a couple of yards.
George, that play is there all day. They give Chris Jones a lot of cushion, and you should take it until the cows come home, because if they're going to give it to you, you've got to take it.
Well, anytime a guy is averaging 17 yards every time he catches the football, you want to be a little leery of the fact that he can get behind you.
You can't give him that much respect because they'll take and drive it down the field.
3rd down now, and a yard to go for first. Lawrence Nolan is the single setback, but Kent's going to wing it. Gets it off to Tim Manning. Manning, nice little move, and finally brought down at the 40-yard line of Southern.
All that is, as you look at the replay, is a simple 3-step drop. Tim Manning runs a quick out. The ball is on the money as it gets out of his turn. Then he gets to use his athleticism, breaks the tackle the first time, picks up positive yardage, keeps the drive going for Jackson State.
Well, that stiff arm is so valuable, isn't it?
My father, who went to Alcorn, always told me that as an ex-running back to always use your stiff arm. I never use it enough, but it is something that gains extra yards for everybody.
Yeah, Timmy put it out there a little bit, knocked that defensive back Randy Williams down to pick up the extra yards. Now Manning in motion, takes the handoff. Has a little seam right there, and he was going to try to make his way through. Now we had a nice little contact after Manning picked up close to 12 yards on the play. Good little contact. In fact, you can hear it.
That is why we are up in the booth now. Okay, because that's the kind of stuff that you wake up tomorrow morning, you wonder what train hit you.
And yet, give a wide receiver credit to run the football like that. Most guys like to try to get to the outside. Tim saw that hole and said, yeah, let's do this. 12:54 left here in our first half. You see the score, 14-7. Calls a timeout as Jackson State is driving deep in their territory, looking for another 6. Southern calls a timeout, Billy?
Because they are getting the ball just driven down their throat.
Pete Richardson said, let's talk about this. So now let's see what they came up with. Kent had to get rid of the football, and a flag is thrown in the backfield as he was pressured by Raylan Johnson, number 92.
It's a holding penalty against the offensive line, but I thought Kent did a good job of getting rid of the ball and not taking the sack.
You see him stretching there. And now here comes the trainer out to see what's wrong with Kent.
As you look at it from the ground level, the defensive line gets good penetration. Kent tries to step up. As he tries to step up, they get a hold of him, and he's trying to get rid of the ball. They hit him just as he goes down. His leg, his knee falls a little bit weird. That's going to be a bad blow. I hope he gets up because that's a tough situation. It looks like it's in a situation where his knee could be hurt.
So with Kent out,
that brings in
Brian Green. Green, just a sophomore from Magnolia, Mississippi, has attempted just 2 passes all year long.
I guess that's why Southern called that timeout.
From the previous spot, it remains first down.
You see Green getting instructions from Darryl Asbury, the offensive coordinator, who told us yesterday the one thing they hate more than anything is turnovers.
Yep.
And we've seen a couple so far in this ballgame. I got a feeling they got a lot of running coming up next week in practice.
When you bring in Brian Green, a second-string quarterback, you don't want to put him in a terrible position, so you need to use your offensive line and your running game.
So Maddox, Stinson, Bates, Randall, and Matthews, that front for Jackson State going to be tested here as they give it to Counselor. Oh, it's awful nice to knock a Counselor to pick up good yards like that on a carry. Close to 8 yards on that play.
You have to credit the offensive line because anytime a running back can get to the line of scrimmage without being touched, he can use his athleticism. I thought Counselor did a good job of exploding into the hole. As you notice, he covered up with both hands as to not fumble.
We saw Kent, and you can see him with his boots on, his red boots that he wore, his special shoes for the turf. And you wonder...
That could be a high ankle sprain, though.
Wow. Those are the hardest to get over, from what I understand. 3rd down and 2. Counselor got a good block, didn't lose a tackler, and got a first down. That was a combination of a couple of things there as Robert Hughes lets out a big, deep sigh of relief after the 4-yard carry for a first down.
As you look at the end zone view, penetration by the defense does a good job, but now here Counselor does a little bit of move, shows his balance, accelerates, knows where the first down is, picks it up. Good job of running, good job of blocking at the point of attack. Good time picking up positive yardage, and now it's 3rd down where it's a tough situation for Jackson State.
And you can see he's averaging 6 yards a carry, has already rushed for 60. Remember, coming off the game last week in which he ran for 125. And we were getting ready to see Brian Green's first attempt. I was a little interested in it, and then the officials blew the whistle.
Delay game, offense, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
See, I was anxious to see what they were going to do in that situation where it make Brian Green have to pick it up.
But here he is. Maybe he took a little too long now, obviously, as we see Robert Kent on the sideline and hobbling.
As we noted before the game, he is a tough character. I look for him to get back in there. He doesn't look like he is fully recovered from that ankle injury, but he's a tough character.
So let's see what Brian Green can do here on 3rd down and 10.
It's a tough situation. 3rd and 10 is tough for anybody.
Looks like here they come. They bring in linebackers. He got good protection. Over the middle. Pass is complete. How about that? Brian Green throws the rope to Robert Jacobs, and they pick up the first down.
As you look at the replay, straight drop back. He reads the zone. He sets up right there, throws the ball on target. He goes up. Jacobs goes up and shows his good hands, picks up the first down. As you look at it, they're playing a little bit of a man and zone. He reads the zone, curls up in the middle. The ball's a little bit high, but that's why he's a receiver. He goes up and picks it up. Good job, good execution by Brian Green and Robert Jacobs.
And Jacobs is still nursing an ankle injury right now, but you saw the senior use the hands to go up and make the catch, and it was a goodie. And Counselor, a little late hit right there. The whistle had been blown, and Lewis came up and decked to knock the Counselor.
And that's how you get people hurt, because the referee blew the whistle, Counselor eased up a little bit, and then takes a big hit by Lewis. Those are things you remember later. As a former running back, I would figure out some way, either I'm blocking or something, to go let Lewis know that that wasn't right.
Now, again, you've got players out there, the intensity level's up at an all-time high. As we wait for the call, he's waving it off.
Wow.
But, I mean, again, how do you stop in that instance? That's a hard thing to do when your momentum's rolling.
Absolutely. Look at the replay.
That's a malfunction in the 25-second clock. We'll replay the down. No flag. Still 3rd down.
Wow.
That was tough because Counselor could have hurt his knee as he got hit backward.
And Robert Hughes, you saw him on the sideline.
He should be upset.
He's not happy.
I remember number 10 now.
Hughes Lewis knows him real well.
Well, Lewis would not get that kind of hit on Counselor if it was a high intensity.
If the whistle hadn't been blown. So here we are, 1st and 10. Ball is marked at the 12-yard line, I formation. Look at Green throwing it and in and out of the hands of his intended receiver, Chris Jones. That wasn't a bad pass.
As you look at the replay, he's coming inside, one's coming outside. He throws the ball perfectly. Even though it's a little bit behind him, he's got to be able to make that reception. The ball was on time.
Brian Green has come off the bench and thrown some pretty passes.
But look at Robert Hughes. He knows the ball is in his hands. He should have had it. You don't get those many opportunities for touchdowns. You got to take advantage.
10:58 left here in the second quarter. It's time to hand off the counter. He's fumbled the football. And Southern dodges yet another bullet as Jabari Green recovers the fumble of Tanaka Counselor.
Coach Robert Hughes has got to be getting another gray hair somewhere because the exchange was made. Now it's up to Counselor to hold on to the ball. At the point of attack, he didn't. As you look at the replay, the handoff was made perfectly. Counselor didn't secure the ball. He's got to secure the ball.
He didn't, and Southern has possession. Or points to Jackson State, but thanks to a fumble by Tanaka Counselor and a recovery by Jabari Green, Southern has the football. 1st and 10, deep in their own territory. As Peoples with the carry, the ball left his hands, but he was down.
I like what Southern did. They just ran a simple option, which is very conservative. He pitched the ball very quickly, allowed Peoples to pick up positive yardage. Right now, you're down in your own territory. You want to make sure you're a little bit conservative because you just got the ball back and you avoided a terrible situation.
Look at the turnover situation, and
that will kill you.
Four turnovers is just, you know, Robert Hughes is not happy again. They talked about it yesterday. They do not like mistakes, and another problem with the exchange between Gary Jenkins and Quincy Richard.
See, when you have a young quarterback, he has to hang in there a little bit longer. Even though Gary Jenkins is a new center and he's probably playing a different position, he's got to concentrate on making sure he stays longer with that snap. But Quincy Richard, he's got to make sure that he stays in there longer because you're in your own territory. This is a terrible time for those kind of situations.
You see Quincy grab him by his shoulder pads? I don't know what he said to him.
He said, it's your fault, man.
3rd down now for Richard. And he's going to try the quarterback draw. And nobody on Jackson State's defensive front was surprised by that one, as Bobby Mays made the tackle. One of the great running backs of all time in Jackson State history. Of course, sweetness, Walter Payton. Jackson State from 71 to 74, and then went on and played with the Bears and had a stellar career. And of course, they named an award after him. If you're the top offensive player in Division I AA, you receive the Walter Payton Award. More on that in a second, as Kobe Miller will punt the football. And Michael Johnson lets this one bounce. It finally goes out of bounds at the 32-yard line. So with that talk about Walter Payton and the award named after him, time now for our trivia question, brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Name the 2 nominees for the 2002 Walter Payton Award that are playing in this football game. Now, there are 16 finalists, and there are actually 3 guys in black college football. 2 of those 3 playing in this football game. As you see a flag back there at the 12-yard line.
Running into the punter.
Still 4th down.
Re-kick.
So they ran into the punter, but it was inadvertent, so they don't give him the 15-yard penalty, just give him 5, so it's still 4th down.
Now, Robert Hughes looked like he's seething. As you look at the replay, it's almost unexcusable to run into the punter. I think he was blocked into him, which I don't know if it's a good call for that, because if you block him into it, it's the blocker's fault.
Yes. And what's Robert's telling him right now?
I guarantee you, Robert, he is seething. He's got, at halftime, he might kill somebody. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well, remember, there's a big old monitor here in the stadium, so they get a chance to see the play.
The coach has got to be upset because mistakes have hurt Jackson State all afternoon.
So now 4th down and 3, and Southern will still punt the football. Miller back to punt. Michael Johnson is your return man. Watching it bounce, and a dangerous situation there. You talked about fielding the football, but in that instance, that may not have been a very smart thing to do, but he holds on to the football, and they have possession. Again, we bring you our trivia question, which was named the 2 nominees for the 2002 Walter Payton Award who are playing in today's football game. And there they are right there. Robert Kent, the quarterback for Jackson State, and Michael Hayes, the wide receiver of Southern. I said that there were actually 3 candidates in all of black college football for the award. The third guy is Alan Suber, the quarterback from Bethune-Cookman, a slick little player, but Hayes and Robert Kent, obviously very good players, and they're going to have their eyes on them throughout the season as they try to decide who's the best offensive player in all of Division I AA.
And Kent has returned. Superman.
Clark Kent back out the phone booth at the 36-yard line, 1st and 10. Throws that quick out to Tim Manning. And Manning looked as if he was a little unfamiliar with running on the turf, and it kind of got caught up as he tried to cut.
Well, that's what Robert Kent's got to do. He really has to lessen his motion, take the 3-step drop, take what the defense gives you, and let your other teammates help you out a little bit, especially if you have a high ankle sprain. He lost a couple yards after he caught it because he went backwards, because he had at least 5 or 6 yards before he went backwards.
And there you see the boots of Superman, Robert Kent. Again with that quick pass into the flat. This time he got it to his other wide receiver, Chris Jones. He has been tuned into Manning and Jones throughout this ball game.
And they're very good receivers because they both have good speed. The defensive backs have to be wary of their speed, so they're taking and keeping everything in front of them, and Robert Kent is taking it. That's what he has to do. Methodically go down the field, pick it up in chunks of 5, 6 until you can make that big play. Take what the defense gives you.
But Kent has done a good job of spreading it all around. We haven't seen Torrey Ross, the freshman, or even Cletus Gordon, the freshman, 2 other very good receivers that Kent will use as this game progresses. You can count on that. 1st and 10, ball is at the 47-yard line. Delayed handoff to big Lawrence Nolan, and he picks up close to 4 yards on the play.
Jabari Green makes the tackle on the play, but he makes the contact probably about 1 yard into the backfield, but Nolan shows you his toughness, as Robert Hughes calls him, young Jim Brown Jr., because it's hard for one person to stop him.
Lawrence Nolan, the senior from Detroit, averaging 4.3 yards per carry. His longest run of the season, 18. And he has yet to put the football in the end zone. And you know the big guy, he wants 1.
Absolutely.
He's like, come on, coach, give me 1. They gave him 3 downs with 3 yards on that carry, makes it 2nd and 7. And whips it across the middle. Now that's a big-time throw, complete to Chris Jones.
What I like, though, is that Lawrence Nolan comes across the formation to pick up the blitzer. That's what the running back has to do. As you look at Nolan, who comes across the formation over here, and he picks up the blitzer, allowing Kent to have a good time to throw the post to Chris Jones on the post, picks it up good timing, 1st down. But the key to that was the offensive line and Lawrence Nolan picking up the blitzer coming off the outside.
27-yard pickup for Chris Jones on that one. Jones just a sophomore. He's got 2 good years left here at Jackson State after this one. Kent now changing plays as he puts Tim Manning in motion. 3 receivers to his left. The blitz again, and Kent decides he's going to hold on to it. Let's see if he tucks it this time. Good little move as he got inside the 15-yard line. Finally brought down by the safety, Randy Williams.
Now as you look at it from the ground level, the offensive line does a pretty good job. The defensive backs for Southern has nobody open. Kent shows his great athleticism, picks up the 1st down, and runs with reckless abandon to make you stop him. And that's why he's a great quarterback, because he's got quick feet. All he has to do is learn to tuck the ball away a little bit.
I was going to say, you know, I'm wondering how much he was thinking about that last time he ran the football, and it was dropped and picked up by Randy Williams and went back the other way for a touchdown.
And you have to do it with reckless abandon. You have to go in there without thinking about what happened in the past.
The timeout, it looked like Pete Richardson was screaming at his defense saying, don't give them all that space. Does that have to do with the coverage?
But as you see Pete Richardson, he has got to make them let it known that they've got to attack the defense. They can't give up big plays. But the good thing is they have built, but they haven't broke.
Pete Richardson in his 10th season here at Southern. But Robert Hughes has the Tigers again in scoring territory. They gave it to Lawrence Nolan this time, and nothing doing. Green was there, the linebacker.
And that time, I thought the defensive line did a good job of getting penetration, because you cannot allow Lawrence Nolan, as big as he is, to get momentum into the line. If you do, you're going to be run over. So I thought the defense did a good job of getting penetration, getting across the line, and stopping that. That's what you have to do. Number 95 did a good job of getting into the line.
I thought Raylan Johnson also did a nice job of clogging up the middle, number 92.
Charles Lemons also.
So here goes Kent off the blitz, gets away, trying to get to the outside. And this time, a very sure tackle for Southern, as looked like Randy Williams was the man who came up and made the stop on Kent.
He's down. Kent's a big guy to stop now. But see, when you get inside the 20, which is called the red zone, things tighten up a little bit. And the pursuit by Southern did a good job. Now you watch it. Kent has penetration to see the defense. He sees the defense. He tucks the ball away. But the pursuit by Randy Williams and the Southern defense does a good job of getting to Kent. And I think Randy Williams hit his helmet on his teammate. And I think that's the reason for him being down. He's got to be a little woozy. Now, as you look on the right-hand side of the frame, he runs his helmet into his teammate's helmet, and I think that's the reason for his headache that he has. But defensive backs and defensive players are very good at that.
It looked like he may have got him in the gut and took the wind away from him.
I guess he did hit him in the gut. That's good. That's better, because if he has concussion, he would never come back to the game. So hopefully it was just the wind knocked out of him, which I've had many times.
It's good
but
to
you
see
start
Randy
breathing, you go back
off.
to the sideline, you'll be all right. He should be back in the game. You see him breathing, trying to get his breath together. That's because he got that wind knocked out of him. He'll be back. He's a tough player. You can tell he plays defense. When you play defense, you got to be tough. That's why I played offense.
The senior from Brandon, Mississippi, Randy Williams, number 22, who made the pickup and run for a touchdown off the fumble for 48 yards to give Southern this 14-7 lead that they have right now. But Jackson State is threatening. 3rd down and 3. Robert Kent locks one in the end zone. It was intended for Tim Manning. Good coverage right there by the defender, Terrence Arnold.
I understand the play, but I didn't like the pattern. As you look at Tim Manning, he's trying to run what they call, he's faking toward the post and going toward the corner. But the cornerback, he didn't run a good route. The cornerback was there. That could be defensive pass interference. The referee did not have a good angle, didn't see it. I thought it was pass interference. You cannot impede the receiver from getting where he is. You make get inside of him, but he bumped him and took him off his route.
Asher Ashley in to attempt a 31-yard field goal. He had the game winner last week against Tennessee State from 20 yards out, and this one is up and no good.
But George, that is 2 times that Jackson State has gotten inside.
Asher Ashley, who last week, like I said, had the 21-yard field goal that beat Tennessee State with a minute left, has got a good mental state when it comes to kicking.
Kicking is 80% mental, 20% physical. I mean, the mental concept takes a big toll. The coaches tell me, don't worry about if you miss the kick, you miss the kick. You're human. You're going to make mistakes. Go out there, just do what you have to do, make the kick.
But when you miss it inside the 20, that's not good for your team.
Ashley, a true freshman who was in high school last year in Decatur, Georgia, has still been solid. And that pass got away from Richard as he was decked in the backfield. It was almost intercepted by number 26, Michael Cooley. But you can see that Richard is still feeling the effects of the blow.
As you look at the replay, he threw an ill-advised ball. Now, I've always had a problem with defensive backs, because one of the reasons you play defensive backs because you can't catch the ball. The ball was right in his hands. He should have had it. They should have turned the ball. It should be Jackson State ball going the other way.
Incomplete pass makes it 2nd and 10 from the 20. Richard. And a good job by Vince Davis, the safety, to come up and take that pitch away, leaving Richard with nothing to do but to eat it.
And Richard is getting up a little bit slow. I thought he was very indecisive. When you run the option, you got to make the decision and go with it, even if it's wrong. He hesitated. That allowed the defense to come up and make the tackle. He's got to be more decisive in his reads.
So with the loss on that one of 2, that makes it 3rd down and 12. 3 receivers split to the left as Richard back into the shotgun.
Here comes a blitz.
Looks like the linebacker. That's Marion Mark, number 2, coming. Richard gets away from the traffic and was looking over the middle for his receiver, Alfred Ard. And Ard looks like he wanted a flag as if he was held out there.
Yeah, but Quincy Richard did not throw an accurate pass, and he can't blame anyone else because the receiver is open. He was throwing on the run, and that's the difference between the 2 quarterbacks because one's more accurate than the other. Richard had the man open, did not make the reception.
Looked like at first he thought he was going to be able to run for it, and then the linebacker came up, took that check away from him, and he was forced to throw the pass.
And I think that made him throw the ball into the ground.
Miller will punt the football. Tim Manning on this very low line drive type kick. Manning takes it at the 48-yard line. Gains maybe 2 on the return. 35-yard punt for Colby Miller, the sophomore from Covington, Louisiana. But Jackson State, who has been deep in Southern territory a couple of times. And again, look at Miller. Great job at catching the football and still getting the punt off. But here's Jackson State. They've been deep in Southern territory a couple of times, twice. And Southern has, shut the door on them.
So that comes back to haunt you because you get down there too many times and they get used to what you're doing. So you got to come away with something. And that hurts your defense when you do that.
Here's Robert Kent. With 3:36 left here in the first half. They trail 14-7. Nolan got the football! And it's recovered by Southern again. Jabari Green with his 2nd fumble recovery of the football game.
And the 5th turnover for Jackson State. They are hurting themselves. Robert Hughes has got to be going crazy. I'd like to be in there at halftime when he makes his speech to those players.
Well, I wouldn't.
As you look at the replay, Nolan, who's not a fumbler, gets hit the second he gets in there. I can't see who made the hit, but he didn't get a chance to get to the line of scrimmage. Lawrence Nolan is not a fumbler. That's got to be caused by the defense. As he comes in from the side, he puts his helmet on the ball, and that causes the fumble for Lawrence Nolan.
I don't know if that was Herman Hartman or not, but if it was that safety again, who gets in the backfield, boy, he's had a great first half, Herman Hartman.
And he's a hitter. Inside
handoff, and Bobby Mays is the man who makes the stop for Jackson State. But look at what happens when Jackson State turns the football over.
Jackson State will be winning this game if they didn't turn the ball over. I give credit to Southern for taking advantage. The Southern has fumbled the ball. They've had turnovers also, but they haven't done anything. Only 1 touchdown out of the 5 turnovers.
And the touchdown they got was picked up and run in off the fumble. 2nd down now and 7. Richard. And he finally gets it to Michael Hayes, but Hayes is out of bounds. We've been waiting for him to go to his big-time receiver, Michael Hayes.
See, I would feel that Quincy Richard, that was his fault the ball went out of bounds because I thought Michael Hayes ran a good route, but the ball led him out of bounds.
When you got a guy who has that much talent, does he start to get frustrated after a while when you don't get him the football?
You see a lot of guys that do, especially when you're your leading receiver and they didn't throw to you. That was his first attempt today.
3rd down and 7.
There's a blitz.
Richard just got rid of it looking downfield. Pass was overthrown, intended for Alfred Ard. But that'll bring 4th down up. And you wonder if maybe Southern wouldn't have been more advised to run it to Peoples a little more.
That's exactly right. Elgin Anderson gets in, takes a hit. Richard gets the ball off pretty good. He throws it a little bit too far, shows his arm, but he's got to be a little bit more accurate. That's been his problem in the past. I think the reason he's in there because of his agility and mobility, but as far as his accuracy, he has not done well today.
Would have thought we would have seen Peoples a little bit more on that possession because he has run the ball very well here in the first half for Southern. But now it's 4th down and 7. Miller will punt the football. Johnson is back to receive it, and it goes out of bounds. So Jackson State, with 2:32 left here in the first half, with the football again. And I don't know if the clock's allowed to still roll. It has stopped at 2:32, but they only used about 20 seconds on that last possession. They had the football deep in, not deep, but in Jackson State territory. You're wondering why they didn't run some more time off the clock.
And I have to question the play calling of Southern University because Peoples is a very good back. Your quarterback has not been accurate. Peoples showing you great quickness at the point of attack. Use him, use the clock, go in with the lead at the half. Now you give the ball back to JSU.
And Kobe Miller, his punt went just 12 yards.
He's not a great punter.
So Jackson State now has 1st and 10 at the 32. There's Kent again off the blitz, escapes the pressure and picks up 1st down yards before he's upended at about the 44-yard line. Coming up to make the hit is Terrence Arnold.
See, when you're 6'5" from a quarterback position, you have got to get low or go into the slide. He's taking too many hits today because he's trying to attack the defender. Robert Kent has to be a little bit more smarter when to go down. I know he doesn't want to, but he's big and tall, and that's a lot more for the defensive players to hit.
You know college, man. The college boys are running, man. That's a 12-yard pickup. He wants more. 1st and 10 as they approach midfield. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left for Kent. Another blitz. Oh, almost intercepted. Lenny Williams came up. He already has 2 picks this season and almost had his 3rd right there.
That's the 3rd time they tried to run that quick screen to Chris Jones. I think the ball was ill-advised. As you look at the replay, he has Chris Jones right here, and then he has Manning over here, and they both kind of get in the way. And I think that kind of hurt the play. Robert Kent did not throw with accuracy. With the defender coming in his face, he's trying to get rid of the ball quickly. I think he threw it to the wrong man. Because Chris Jones has run that play 3 times. That time he threw it to maybe Manning.
2nd down now and 10.
4 receivers to the left.
And Kent's looking right. Looking for that man-to-man coverage. Got it. Manning catch. Yes, sir. Inside the 15-yard line. Down to the 11. Kevin Moffitt was there defensively, but they put everybody on one side and threw to the single man on the right.
I like that. He had 4 receivers to the right. He gets Manning man-to-man on the other side, throws it up for grabs, tests the athleticism of Manning, and still tries to stay in bounds and get get positive yardage. You look at Manning. He's running a simple go pattern. All Robert Kent is throws up for grabs, does a good job. Manning does a good job of making the adjustment over his head and still tries to get positive yardage. That's a great catch and run by Manning and a great throw by Robert Kent.
And he picked up on that play right there, 43 yards. But Kevin Moffitt, just a sophomore, coming off a great game in which, and I'm talking about number 37 for Southern, he had a great game last week in which he blocked 3 kicks and forced the punter to bring down on the 4th. And he was the SWAC, and actually Division I AA Special Teams Player of the Week.
3rd time they've been inside the red zone.
But had trouble stopping Manning there. As they give it to Manning this time, who was in motion. Herman Hartman is the first guy to get a hold of him. Lenny Williams, number 2, still on the ground after the tackle.
And going back to the other play, Ken Moffitt is substituting for Terrence Arnold, who was the regular starter cornerback who's out with some type of injury. This puts their defensive back situation a little bit bad because they were already thin coming into the game with the absence of Terrence Arnold.
But, you know, when you talk to the folks at Southern, that's why Pete Richardson likes to use so many different guys, because he never wants anybody not to be ready. So, like I said at the top of the show, he'll use 8 defensive linemen. He'll use 6 defensive backs. He'll use 4 running backs because he wants everybody to be ready. And I guess that's a pretty good idea.
And then when you run against a no-huddle offense, you don't get time for like that 30-second breather that you would normally get.
So you need
because you got to hurry back. You need extra guys in there. I'm tired watching them.
As you see Pete Richardson right there, the head man here at Southern, 68-19. He's been coaching 14 years overall. He was at Winston-Salem State before coming here to Southern, where he was impressive down in North Carolina with a record of 41-14-1.
George, he's used his timeouts wisely. Last time they were inside the red zone, he used it. They were able to get a fumble and negate JSU's attempt. JSU has got to get points on the board before the half.
Second down, and Jackson State can still get a first at the 1-yard line. Faked it to Manning. Dropped it off to Jones. Jones made the catch, but credit the defensive lineman. It looked like somebody got a big old paw on that, which made Jones have to wait for it.
Well, Robert Kent had a lot of people in his face, and when you're inside the red zone, which is inside the 20, as you look at the replay, he had a lot of people in his face. He had to get rid of the ball quickly. It was tipped. Chris Jones caught the ball 2 times, allowing the defense to come up and make the tackle very quickly. Inside the red zone, things happen a lot quicker, so you have to make decisions quicker yourself.
Andre Payton was the man who got a hand on the football. Terrence Arnold was the man who made the tackle. A loss of 5 makes it now 3rd down and 10. Kent in the end zone, touchdown Jackson State. Tim Manning has been schooling everybody today. That time, the 12-yard touchdown gives Jackson State 6, and they now are down 1 and can tie things up with 31 seconds left. And we go back to that last possession by Southern and the thought that maybe they should have run some more time off the clock instead of throwing the football and getting the incomplete passes.
Excellent point. You run the ball, the clock moves.
But now here comes Asher Ashley with the point after. Kick is up, kick is good, and we're tied up at 14.
That's got to make Robert Hughes a little bit happy. But as you look at the replay, Manning's lined up inside. He runs a post corner. The ball is there when he comes out of his route. Perfectly thrown. Manning gets his touchdown, and that's how you do it. You watch Manning. He's on the inside right here. He's going to come up and do a corner post, and then the ball is in the air. Watch Manning. He runs a good route. Everybody else clears out, gets out of the way. You look at Manning. He's going to the corner right now. The ball is perfectly thrown. The ball is thrown just only where he can catch it inside. Touchdown, Manning from Robert Kent. Good pitch and throw. Now Kent gets hit after the throw, so he doesn't see the touchdown, but he knows what's happening. He knows he throws a perfect pass, but that's what a quarterback's got to do. Stay in the pocket, put the ball where it's supposed to be. Touchdown, Jackson State.
Tim Manning, the go-to man, with his 2nd touchdown reception of the season.
And what do you think Robert Hughes is thinking? First, he's upset. His team has had 5 turnovers in the first half, but they're tying the game up with 31 seconds. You have to be happy with that because your team is fighting.
And you're saying to yourself, boy, and we've been down in their, deep in their territory all day long. Maybe you're thinking we should have more than 14 points.
They should. They should be up at least 28-7 if you eliminate the turnovers.
So with 31 seconds left here in the first half, keep in mind, while this has been a lot of fun, the bands are right around the corner, and my partner Billy Taylor has been waiting for the band show since he got here.
Absolutely.
Squib kick fielded by Cox at the 29-yard line, and with 27 seconds left, we'll see what Southern decides to do. Will they be happy with the tie score, take it back in, or will they try something deep?
I think Pete Richards should let the clock run out. You don't want to take a chance with a turnover. You don't want to take a chance of anything back. As far as Jackson State, you got to have everybody back deep. Nothing gets behind you. Keep everything in front of you.
So they got a double tight end set. Looks like they're going to be happy with keeping it on the ground.
Absolutely.
They give it to Peoples on the pitch back. Peoples holding onto the football, takes it out close to the 35.
That's what they should have done the first time. Pitch the ball to Peoples, allow the clock to run. They will not allow Jackson State to get the ball back. Jackson State has driven between the 20s all day long.
They're going to try to run another one, and they do, as we come to the end of the first half. What a football game we've had, 14-14.
I don't understand why they ran another play. They could have just wait till the clock run out.
And Robert Hughes, who's got to feel a little justified, a little vindicated that his club was still able to make a play. As you see Pete Richardson walking off the field, and you wonder what's on his mind right now.
Well, you saw him yelling at his team. He's not a very happy man.
So we take a commercial break. You're going nowhere. You know the bands are coming up next. It's all tied at 14. Known as the sonic boom of the South, giving flavor the Prancin' Jassettes. Band is directed by Dr. Louis Liddell, the band chair, and the PA voice is Dr. Jimmy Jones.
Fans, the trio of a millionaires, the Prancin' Jassettes, and the Tina Turner Review. Dance line performing to the dance bands. Let's whip it. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prancin' Jassettes.
14, we just enjoyed the sounds of Jackson State's marching band. We now switch over to Southern University's marching band, otherwise known as the Human Jukebox. The young ladies accompanying them, the Dancing Dolls. The band director, Dr. Isaac Greggs.
And now take a round the SU band as they march to the sounds of Janet Jackson and Idol, Together Again. Ladies and gentlemen, notice the rock, the high step, the movement, and the groove. The Southern University marching band is often imitated, but never duplicated.
Passing 211 yards for Jackson State. I mean, they're controlling numbers-wise, but that just goes to prove how those turnovers can really kill you.
5 turnovers to 1, and time possession is ridiculous.
Take a look at our highlights in the first half, and Robert King got things going with his legs.
Yes, he did. He started off, here's a 1-yard sneak. He used his 6'5" frame to get in to give to Jackson State the first lead.
Coming right back, though, Richard hits Chris Davis, 28-yard touchdown, and all of a sudden Southern's back into it. Then watch the scramble by Kent and the fumble.
Yep, the difference is he didn't tuck the ball away. He's got the ball out there wide. He's got to put it in tight to his body, and then Williams picks the ball up, takes it to the house. That's one of the turnovers that hurt Jackson State in the first half.
45-yard return right there gave Southern a 14-7 lead, but Jackson State came back late in the first half.
As he throws a bomb to Manning. Manning shows good athleticism, tries to stay in, and that's what you have to do, take what the defense gives. And I think all day Robert Kent did a good job getting the ball to Tim Manning, and an excellent job at putting the ball right on the money.
In Louisiana Superdome, obviously the officials have somewhere to go after today's football game because they already kicked it off. Southern with the football, and obviously Pete Richardson told his young quarterback, hey, you know, are you going to throw it to Michael Hayes today or what?
And that's all you got to do is run a simple out pattern, make it simple, get him involved in the game. Otherwise, he feels he's not a part of the team.
You see, Anthony Fisher now has come into the ball game, the senior from Baton Rouge. He's your quarterback in shotgun formation after the 8-yard pickup. This time he gets it to his other very experienced receiver, Altrevion Jobert.
I have to give the coach a lot of credit because to make a quarterback switch at halftime to a more Anthony Fisher, who's more of an accurate quarterback and more of a pocket type, this could be the difference in the game because of his accuracy, because there are receivers open.
Well, he already has found his 2 senior receivers on the first 2 plays of the second half. But now the snap goes over his head, and he's forced to pounce on it back at the 34-yard line.
As you look at it, the young offensive line, inexperienced, haven't been playing together long. He's trying to look at where he blocks first, throws the ball over Anthony Fisher's head. Anthony Fisher does a good job of going back and just making sure that Jackson State doesn't get the fumble. So I give Anthony Fisher credit for following on the ball in a tough situation. This makes it second and forever. This is a tough situation to be in.
A -19 on the play as you get a good look at the center, Gary Jenkins. Again, a senior. He's been around for a while. Had some miscues. Oh, my, in and out of the hands of his intended receiver,
Michael Hayes. And see, what Hayes did is you look at the replay out here. What he did was he tried to run before he catches it. He's already looking to run, and he catches the ball in his bread basket. I like receivers to catch it in their hands instead of their bread basket because their hands give you the feel of it.
Again, back to the fact that he did not get any passes in the first half. I'm wondering, is this a guy now who's over-aggressive, a little antsy, wants to make something happen?
Is not into his groove.
So here we are now, 3rd down and 29, but Billy was more to the point forever. The pass is one hop to Jobert, who would have been shy of a first down by at least 12 yards, and that brings in the punting unit.
This is what Jackson State wants. They want them to go 3 downs and out and to be able to capitalize. If they can create a situation where they can stop their turnovers, they have a chance to take advantage of this game. Now that they have a sitting quarterback, will they go after him?
Colby Miller comes in to punt. Averaged just 30 yards of punt in 5 kicks in the first half. His longest went for 40.
And that probably was on a couple bounces.
Michael Johnson is back deep to field the punt. Takes it at the 31. Good coverage, but he was able to elude the tackler and get it out to the 41-yard line. A 36-yard punt and an 11-yard return. We'll be back. Their first possession of the second half, and Robert Kent running somewhat of an option play and pitching it to Brandon Cox, the sophomore from Kenner, Louisiana.
I don't understand why they pitched to Brandon Cox because he's not the open field runner that Counselor is. When you pitch out to a running back and he's one-on-one with anybody, the running back should be able to make somebody miss. Brandon Cox is not the same runner as Tanaka Counselor, and that's why I disagree with that. Know your personnel.
2nd down now and 10. I formation. Cox is still in the game. Hopefully Counselor's okay. Here's Kent eluding pressure, getting the pass off, and has Manning, and Manning's shirt was being tugged by the defender, Randy Williams, and you'll probably have a pass interference.
Oh, Randy Williams definitely had him. It was definitely pass interference. But one thing, Brandon Cox, the running back, did not pick up the blitzer. The job of the running back is to pick up the blitzer to help the quarterback get more time. He did not pick him up. Therefore, Robert Kent had to be able to throw the ball almost off balance. As you look at the replay, the defender, Williams, clearly had Manning's jersey. There's not even a question. It was definitely pass interference.
Tim Manning has been outstanding in this football game. In the first half, he caught 6 balls for 109 yards and a touchdown.
And they've almost thrown for 200-something yards in the first half and only had 14 points to show for it.
Defensive pass interference, 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Chris Jones caught 8 balls for Jackson State, so Robert Kent distributing the football. Robert Jacobs had 1 reception, but his pass came from Brian Green, who was 1 for 2 in the first half when Kent went down and his ankle was rolled. 1st and 10 now for Jackson State. Good play defensively by the linebacker there, Kendrick Paul, to force the defensive play.
This portion of today's game is brought to you by Dell Computer. Easy to buy, easy to own, easy as Dell.
Second down.
I was trying to look for, there's Counselor, he's back in the game now. Brandon Cox didn't do good the first 2 times he has the ball. Counselor's back in the game.
Well, at least that's good news that there was nothing wrong with him. But you wonder why they did come out with Brandon Cox. But think about it. He is the running back of the future on this club. Just a sophomore. Counselor and Nolan, both seniors, will be gone next year.
I understand that, but when you pitch the ball, you're out there one-on-one. You want your best running back to be able to make moves one-on-one with the defender. I didn't think Brandon Cox has shown me that he can do that yet.
So Jackson State, 2nd in the SWAC in rushing offense, 1st in passing, 1st overall. And like you said, Billy, pretty much doing what they wanted to offensively and yet not getting points out of it. They had the time of possession advantage. They got the ball around offensively, but it was the miscues, the 5 turnovers in the first half, which allowed Southern to stay in this football game.
They beat Southern at every aspect of the game. 1st downs, 3rd down conversions, rushing, passing, and only tied up at 14 apiece.
Today's Scholastic Athletes of the Game are brought to you by Dell Computer. Easy to buy, easy to own, easy as Dell. And Bobby Bell with a 3.0. The defensive lineman from Jackson State, and Perry Davis with a 3.4 from Southern. Your Dell Scholastic Athletes of the Week. Robert Kent now on 2nd down, looking downfield, and had Tim Manning all by himself and overthrew his receiver.
I have to totally give credit to the offensive line. They allowed Kent to get back there, have a cup of coffee. He had time to throw. He's got to put a little bit more air on it, so he allows Manning to run under the ball. As you look at the replay, as you look at Robert Kent, he's got to be proud of that offensive line because they gave him what he needed. He's got to make sure that he makes that completion. When you have somebody wide open like that, you got to, whatever you got to do, you got to get the ball to him.
Manning, again, time in and time out, has found wide open spaces out there. And you wonder what you got to be thinking if you're Pete Richardson. How do you stop this guy? 3rd down now. 14 to go for a 1st. They throw the screen. Give it to Jones. Jones still on his feet. Jones with pay dirt. Jones 6. And ends it with a Nestea plunge. A screen pass into a 48-yard touchdown run, and Jackson State goes on top by 6.
As you look at the replay, he allows the defense to come up. He doesn't get his blockers out in front of him. He shows good quickness, shows his speed, accelerates for the touchdown. But it was beautifully set up because he allowed the defender to come in toward the quarterback, dropped it off a quick screen. He takes it to the house. Jackson State gets the lead back.
So Chris Jones with his 4th touchdown reception. Oh, net kick right there. Off to the right. Asher Ashley misses the point after, and that may come back to haunt him as the lead is just 6. Sorry. So Jackson State goes on top 20-14 thanks to Chris Jones. We'll be back right after this. And you get a good look at Chris Jones, who just went 48 yards for a touchdown, but Asher Ashley came in and missed his 2nd point after of the season.
And you know, George, in my mind, it's unacceptable to miss an extra point.
Here comes Southern back, and your return man is Mr. Ezra Landry, who, by the way, leads the SWAC in returns, averaging 27 yards every time he returns a kickoff. Went 26 there and gives his team good field position as they trail in this ball game by 6, 20-14.
I'm anxious to see what they do against Anthony Fisher, the new quarterback, number 17, coming in, because he's sitting in the pocket. When you have someone sitting there and he's completing passes, you must blitz him because you can't let him sit back and survey the defense.
So they'll start off 1st and 10. Anthony Fisher, who's completed 53 of his passes coming in for 419 yards in 2 games. And he's throwing again. This time, a little too high for Ard to make the catch, to make it 2nd down.
He's got to bring the ball down. He might be a little bit, maybe not into his readiness because he threw the ball a little bit high. Sometimes when you do that, it means you're not really settled down. He sat the whole 1st half. He had to be a little cold. Comes out in the 2nd half throwing the ball.
So we saw Quincy Richard in the 1st half for Southern. And in the 1st half, he was just 2 of 8 for 37 yards. So they made the change to Fisher. Here's his 2nd pass of the possession, and it is over the head of Altravion Jobert. Meanwhile, we heard from
you must blitz him because you can't let him sit back and survey the
kicker
defense.
in the 1st half for Jackson State. Asher Ashley talking about the fact that Robert Hughes brings him aside, says you're human, always comforts me. We see that happening right there.
But you can't always comfort him when he keeps missing situations which I think are automatic.
So here's Fisher on 2nd down and 10. Forced to run out of bounds as Bobby Mays chases him the other side of the field. They didn't change the down marker on the other side of the field. It said 2nd down, but it was actually 3rd down, so that makes it 4th.
That shows you the difference between Quincy Richard and Anthony Fisher, because Anthony Fisher didn't have much quickness getting to the sideline and only picked up a couple yards.
You see Ashley over there working out, trying to stay in some sort of rhythm. But now Miller will punt the ball for Southern. And Michael Johnson is standing back at the 28-yard line, which is where he'll field it. And a penalty flag is thrown as that halo rule in college football, where you have to give the guy a little room to catch the football. And it looks like that they did not recognize that rule on that play.
In my mind, George, being a punt returner is the most dangerous job in the game because you can't really see the defenders coming down. As you look at the replay, the ball is in the air, and he clearly does not have enough room to catch the ball. That's a great call by college football to give them that halo rule to have room to catch the ball. That's how you get people hurt.
Credit Johnson with being able to hold on to the football despite the hit.
But he still would have got the penalty.
Yes. So 10-16 left as we get the call from the officials.
We got contact in the buffer zone, 15 yards from the spot of the foul. 1st down.
So that'll move the ball out to the 45-yard line where Jackson State will take over 1st and 10. 10-16 left here in the 3rd. Pete Richardson's defense going to have to come up big and make a stop. Take a look at the Queens in attendance. The king has been Robert Kent. He's been almost flawless today, 15 to 20, as he completes his 16th pass of the ball game, this time finding Cletus Gordon his first reception of the game.
And all that is a simple pitch and catch. He runs 5 yards, turn around, and Robert Kent had the ball on time. Good job of picking up 5 yards.
Last week against Tennessee State, Robert Kent was 18 of 34 for 246 yards. He's already passed that mark, as he now has thrown for over 250 after that completion right there. Second down and 5. Another pass to Gordon, and Gordon is right at the first down marker.
When I was talking to Coach Hughes yesterday, when he was describing Robert Kent, he was talking about he's got the fastest release of anybody. As you look at that, he had a defender in his face and got the ball off with quickness. And that's what it takes to be a good quarterback, because you can't block everybody. You got to be able to have a quick release when you see it open. Take what the defense gives you.
They're going to credit Gordon with a first down catch. Again, Kent keeps that hurry-up offense on point as they don't huddle. They just keep going. A single setback is to knock the counselor. He gets the handoff, pay dirt, and picks up about 13 yards on the run. Boy, they really have so many things they can do offensively. When you start talking about the guys they throw to, then here comes Counselor and Lawrence Nolan. It's unbelievable.
And you look at the replay, Counselor goes off the block of right tackle number 69, Johnny Maddox, and has a great hole and accelerates in the hole. And that's what you do as a running back. Once you get to that hole, you bust your behind up in there. Counselor did a good job dragging defenders, picking up positive yardage.
Counselor now with 69 yards. Last week had 125 against Tennessee State. He's your single setback. First and 10. Throws a good block. Oh, in and out of the hands of Tim Manning.
I thought Robert Kent did a good job of reading the blitz. They did a good job of picking up. You look at everybody. He comes in here, picks up the blitz, which is very important, allowing Kent to get the ball off. I thought the ball was perfectly thrown. Should have made the reception. Manning's had a great first half. The ball was thrown as well as it could be. That's when the receiver shows his best and tiptoes on the sideline.
Now I'm starting to get a feel why a lot of folks thought that Jackson State, when the season began, was the second best team in all of black college football.
Their offense is definitely hard to stop unless they stop themselves.
Second and 10, throws it out in the flat. Passes complete to Johnson, and Johnson picks up another 13 yards. Boy, the receivers coming at you. Manning, Jacobs, Johnson, Ross, Gordon, Jones. It's unbelievable what they can do.
As you look at the replay, it's a simple three-step drop. He goes back, sets, get the ball away quickly into the hands of the receiver, allows him to show his athleticism, putting his hands down, going positive for another first down. That's what you have to do. If the defense is backing off, you throw the ball in front of him.
By the way, that was Scott Morris throwing another hand. That's the brother of Sylvester Morris, the former great receiver at Jackson State. They go back the other side this time and hit Chris Jones on the pass pattern.
And what he's doing now is taking the stuff in front of him. You run like a 5 or 6 yard out. As you look at it, all he's doing is short stuff. He's not allowing the defenders to have any time. They pick up the blitz pretty well. He gets rid of the ball to Jones very quickly, allows Jones to get positive up the field. What you want to do as a quarterback is get the ball quickly to your receivers so they can turn and run. Look at that. 10 catches, 145 yards, 14.5 average. You'll have that any day.
Jones had 10 receptions against North Carolina A&T for 187 yards 3 weeks ago. Putting up great numbers. Here's Kent, forced out of the pocket, dumps it to Counselor. Counselor eludes the tackler, gets it down to the 1-foot line.
Now, I like Counselor because as a former running back, I have to have the feeling that nobody can tackle me one-on-one. Now, Robert Kent has plenty of time. He gets rid of the rush, dumps it off to Counselor. Counselor makes the first person Dave Williams miss and then goes in down to the 1 yard. That's how you take what the defense gives you, because I thought Kent did a good job of avoiding the rush and then just throwing the ball out to Counselor in the flat, letting him do his thing.
Unfortunately, we got an illegal block down near the end zone, so they're going to take this one back. And I mean, they're taking it all the way back. This is a 15-yard penalty.
That must have been personal foul.
Offensive pass interference, 15 yards from the previous spot, still first down.
Wow, from the previous spot. That's incredible.
You can hear the boos in this place, and this is a Southern facility.
So I was trying to figure out what the adjustments that Southern did on defense. All they're doing is trying to tighten up closer and not give them that short pass.
First and goal at the 22. Now Ken doesn't have to get it all at once. Nice move there. Still on his feet. Picks up maybe 3 yards on the scramble. Herman Hartman did a good job to keep the outside sealed off so Kent couldn't get out there and had to cut back inside. Braylon Johnson.
And it seems like every time they get between the 20s, this is when they have the problems. This is when they should execute perfectly because this is scoring territory. You have to be more careful when you get inside the red zone, which is inside the 20-yard line.
But like they say, hardest place in the world to score. Defense doesn't have as much room to cover. Second down and goal at the 19. Nolan takes it up the middle. Fumble. And a fumble. Nolan was met by Eddie Green, number 44, and coughed up the football.
The referee calls it down, calls the ball down. It's not a fumble.
Eddie Green, the junior from New Orleans, clogged up the middle. Sorry.
Eddie Green did a good job of attacking Lawrence Nolan in the hole, down low. If you can get down lower than Nolan, then I think you can stop him, and he coughed a fumble, but they were lucky the ball was ruled down.
Third and goal at the 16. Kent gonna look into the end zone. He was looking for Tim Manning, and this time, good coverage by Lenny Williams out there forces the fourth down. And now we're going to see Ashley come back out and attempt the field goal.
I thought Lenny Williams did a good job playing defense that time because they scored before on what they call that post corner. This time he was trying to get to the corner. Lenny Williams wouldn't allow him to get there. Very good coverage.
So here comes Asher Ashley, the freshman from Decatur. 33-yard attempt.
This has been an adventure every single time.
His longest field goal of the season is 37.
And this is 33.
That kick is up.
It's good.
And the kick is good.
You know what's interesting is we saw Coach Hughes talking to him before that. And I think that's what a good coach does. When something happens, you need to talk to him. As you look at the replay, everything is perfect. The snap is perfect. The holder gets the ball down. Perfect execution by the field goal team. Special teams are a vital part of any game, and I think JSU is showing that they executed right now. They did an excellent job of putting it right there.
It's pretty much been all Jackson State. They were tied up at 14 apiece at intermission. But then Jackson State has come out, gotten themselves a touchdown thanks to Chris Jones, who turned a little screen pass into a 48-yarder. And then they get the field goal from Asher Ashley. Good for 33 yards. And with that, that's why they lead this one by 9.
Sometimes when you go in at the half, you always want to see what adjustments the coach made. Robert Hughes did a good job of taking what the defense gives, relaying it to Robert Kent, and I think that's why they have the lead 23-14.
So if you're Pete Richardson, now what are you looking to do here as you get the football back?
Well, it's scary because you have to pass because you're behind, but you have a quarterback who's very immobile.
Well, here's Landry again. Landry looking for a little bit of blocking. Stop, wanted to reverse the field. He found that there were players coming from his backside, and he was forced to drop it down after a 25-yard return. Out to the 30, excuse me.
My fault. It's interesting for me on a kickoff because you have no time to doodle in the backfield. You have to take it and go because the pursuit is the most dangerous job beside punt returner when you're trying to return kickoffs because everybody's coming down there really fighting for their lives, fighting for their jobs. It's probably one of the toughest jobs to run down on a kickoff. I'm glad I didn't do it very much in my career.
So here's Anthony Fisher, 2 of 6 passing the football so far for 19 yards. He's going to have to get something going. A little delay handoff this time. And his running back Peoples picks up good yardage, but looked like he was a little hesitant and then fell backwards, and that was another scary sight right there.
As you look at the replay, all it is a simple draw play. The defense is looking for the pass. Peoples gets up in there, accelerates, and watch him slow down a little bit, but maybe he's protecting the ball. I think that was the difference why he slowed down.
15-yard pickup. This time, pass is complete to Michael Hayes. His first catch of the game. He came in with 25 receptions leading the club.
Didn't have one earlier. They called it back on the sideline. But that's his first catch tonight. Wow, that's a shame.
9 yards on that play. Still plenty of time in this football game for them to go to him a time in and time out. It's time to give it to Peoples inside. Very aggressive linebacker play by Elgin Andrews and James McGowan.
I love Elgin Andrews. He's very underrated. He averages double figures in tackles. He doesn't get the recognition he deserves, but you watch. Every time you see the Jackson State defense, Elgin Andrews is always around the football.
Last year, he led the conference in tackles. Number 44 on your program. 1st and 10, though, for Southern. As they give it inside to the fullback. And almost had a mix-up on the exchange there. That was number 32 for Southern.
It was
Mark Frederick.
It was a mix-up. Excuse me, George. He was lucky that he didn't fumble the ball, because as you look at the exchange from the quarterback, when he gets right here, he falls, he stumbles. He's lucky to hold on to the ball and picks up positive yardage. This is a good drive by Southern.
2nd down and 1. This time it's Peoples. Peoples picks up close to a yard. Probably getting the 1st down on that carry. Yeah, they do, as it's marked at the 33.
I like Peoples because when you hit him at the point of attack, he keeps his feet moving, and even though he was hit before the 1st down, his 2nd effort allowed him to get the 1st down. Good job by Kenneth Peoples.
The play of Peoples has kept guys like Victor Ike, number 7 on the bench, who is actually 5th in the conference in rushing, but has had problems with dehydration the past couple of games. Fisher's pass intended, intercepted, good defensive play by Bonner. And it looks like it was picked off, but we'll have to wait and see what the flag says. Derek Watson is the man who came up with the interception. But again, a flag has been thrown, might be interference. And Bonner is the guy who came up and put the hit on the intended receiver. And he might be the one who was called for the interference.
I have never met a defensive back yet who admitted that he got in the way of the defender.
Spot foul, automatic 1st down.
They can't seem to understand the 5-yard rule.
But the thing about it, you can't hit him before he gets the ball. And he won't admit that he did it. He's still mad out there, but you got to have a short memory to play defensive back anyway.
Ball's up to 26 now for Fisher. Looking downfield. And he was looking for Hayes, and Hayes was double teamed. Andrews was back there defensively, as was Watson again.
A lot of the crowd thought there was another pass interference, but the defensive back has a right to the ball also. Everyone look, they pay good money to see receivers catch touchdown passes and see defensive backs get beat. But in that particular play, I thought that the defensive back had the right of way.
In fact, some people pay big money to see Michael Hayes make catches. And he's made very few. 1 to be exact. Oh, that pass was intended for Trevion Jobert. And I think he heard Elgin Andrews coming his way and said, nah, I think I'll pass on that one.
They call that hearing footsteps. That's what they call it, because he's trying to run before he catches it because he knows he's going to get hit. The bad thing about it is you're going to get hit anyway, so catch the ball. It looks better even for the people in the stands if you catch it and get hit and then get up.
3rd down now as you're watching another Southwest Airlines presentation of Black College football on BET. 3rd and 10 for Fisher, looking over the middle. And again, Bonner was there defensively on Jobert. And this time, no flag.
I thought it was a very good defensive play by Corey Bonner. He did not take away from his aggressiveness from his last time having a pass interference. That time he stood his ground. He had no respect for the receiver beating him deep. Did a good job on the play, stopped the play, come up with 4th down.
So now a 43-yard attempt for Colby Miller, who is 0 for 1 this season on field goals. His only attempt coming from 29 yards out. And now a flag has been thrown.
Too many men on the field.
Wow. So that takes them now out of field goal range.
That's a 47-yarder. 48-yarder, excuse me.
Illegal substitution. Offense, 5 yards. It remains 4th down.
Now, the reason for that, George, you can't have a player come in and deliver a play and then come back out. They're trying to be slick when you do that.
Right.
I don't think they did it on purpose, but then that's why they put the penalty in. This is a tough situation. It takes points off the board that could have been there. Now they have to punt probably.
No, what they're going to do now is, now that they're out of field goal range, they're going to go for it. So now 4th and 15. And Fisher didn't like what he sees and calls the timeout.
No, I think he had players that didn't understand that it was going for it. A lot of people thought he was going to get the field goal, but he had players that weren't on the same page. And I think that was the difference in it.
Better safe than sorry. Pete Richardson, the head coach of Southern, has decided to go for it. Fisher throwing downfield, looking for Hayes, and again, double coverage. Albert Woolard was back there defending.
That was a very poor throw by Fisher. He throws into double coverage. As you look at the replay, he knows the safety's over there. A cornerback is there. You throw the ball up for grabs. This is how you get interceptions. Poorly thrown ball by Anthony Fisher. Before that, I thought he was throwing the ball pretty well, but at that situation, you have to look elsewhere. If someone is double teamed, there's got to be somebody else that may be open.
And Derek Watson made several good plays on that last possession for Southern. He had the interception that they called back because of the penalty, but he was very active on that last possession for Southern. And I'm talking about he was active for Jackson State defensively. 1st and 10 after the failed 4th down conversion. This time they try the inside, and Tanaka Counselor is met immediately. Pearl is there defensively to make the stop.
I thought the defense did a good job of reading the draw. They knew the play was coming before it came, and sometimes when that happens, you have to audible out of it.
He loses a couple of yards on that play, but look at the total yards.
That's incredible. That is incredible.
Their average per ball game is 489. And it's 100 more yards per game than anybody else in the SWAC. Pass is knocked down there by Williams, and a flag is thrown. The pass was intended for Robert Jacobs, and I thought Williams made a good play.
I thought he did too, but the defensive back does not get any credit at all because everybody wants to see the wide receiver do something. As you look at the replay, Kent is looking for a receiver. He's kind of has some little trouble, so he takes the dump off a little bit to his right to Jacobs. I thought he did a good job. He may have had his left hand on his back. That's what they look at from you if you look from behind. We didn't get the end zone view, but if you look at that.
Spot foul, automatic 1st down.
See, that call could have gone either way because Lenny showed great aggressiveness. Lenny Williams, number 2, did a good job of getting to the ball, not letting the receiver try to beat him deep. And I thought he made a good play on it, but like I said, the receivers, you can't really touch him when the ball's in the air.
So it makes it 1st and 10 at the 41. And how about the pressure now building on this Southern defense? They've got to make a stop. They can ill afford to let Jackson State drive it down the field again. Pass is complete. This time goes to another receiver, Torrey Ross. That one good for 9 yards as Kent continues to just build up the yards. Now he's screaming at the officials. He wants flags. He's probably getting bumped a little extra in that backfield after delivering the ball.
Well, Torrey Ross runs a simple down and stop pattern. Kent throws the ball on timing. That's hard to defend. Excellent execution.
2nd down and 1. Nolan is the single setback. You've got 2 receivers split to either side. Kent lobs it
As you look at the replay, you see Tim Manning. He's in the outside position. The ball's thrown up for grabs. He doesn't even attempt for the ball until he gets to his highest point. That's just a simple timing pattern between the quarterback, Kent, and Manning. Excellent job by both parties.
And the sophomore, Kevin Moffitt, is really learning what it's like to have to cover a big-time receiver because he's been on Manning throughout.
It's hard to cover those guys man-to-man. You need help.
Hard to cover zone when you got 6 receivers in the pattern. Here's Kent over the middle. Pass is complete to Cletus Gordon.
I see Robert Kent getting into his groove as a quarterback. He's simply taking what the defense gives. Look, as he's dropping back, he's seen what the defense is giving him, gets the ball to Cleotis very quickly, makes the catch. That's what you have to do. The defense will always give you something. Make sure you make the right read. Look at those stats right there. That's the point, too, because they've done all this between the 20s, and they only got 20-some points. They should be up by at least 30-something right now, minimum.
Well, let's see what they can do here. Remember, the last time they were deep in their territory, they had that big penalty that took them back to the 20, and they never got in. Lodge Nolan absorbs a hit and still gets another 4 yards.
So I feel bad for Jabari Green, number 50, because he attacked Lawrence Nolan in the hole, which a good linebackers are supposed to do. But Lawrence Nolan just ran over him, stepped on his chest, and gained another 4 or 5 yards. That's tough to do.
They call Nolan the workhorse.
So I'd have to do that Olay thing and kind of let him go because I wanted to wake up tomorrow.
But Nolan picked up a first down with the play, 1st and 10 at the 15. So we've come to the end of the 3rd quarter. Jackson State leads 23-14. Along with Billy Taylor and the rest of our BET crew, coming to you from the Louisiana Superdome, where Jackson State in control, 23-14. And looking for more. Kent into the end zone. Oh my, what a catch! This time by Robert Jacobs. Is anything going wrong for this football team here? What a catch. We have seen some magnificent grabs by Jackson State.
As you look at Kent, he puts the ball up before Jacobs even turns around. Jacobs catches the ball on the fingertips and gets into the end zone. Beautiful pass, nice catch by Robert Jacobs. They make it look easy.
15-yard touchdown play right there as Ashley comes out to attempt the point after. Missed the last one. And this one's up. Ooh. And that one's no good.
Robert Hughes has got to talk to him again.
So we start the 4th quarter off with a 15-yard touchdown from Robert Kent to Robert Jacobs. But what about the stats at the end of the 3rd quarter? Let's take a look at those 3rd quarter stats brought to you by Pizza Hut, home of the Big New Yorker, thin and crispy, pan, stuffed crust pizza, and more. What do you see there, Billy?
They have dominated every category. First downs, passing yards, rushing yards. The only thing that they had is the 5 turnovers. Otherwise, the game would be crazy. 28.29 possession. That means Southern their defense has been on the field all time.
I take it crazy means that it would be out of control. We'd be ready to, well, we'd be filling, right?
Yep.
It's 29-14. I mean, he's having a good time right now, folks. I mean, he's completed 23 of 30 passes for 332 yards, 3 touchdowns. He began the game 6 touchdown passes shy of becoming the all-time leader in that category in school history. And what a way to bounce back from last week when he threw no touchdown passes.
Absolutely, and he's really controlled this game. He's the leader of this offense. How they go, he goes. He spreads the ball around. Everybody gets to touch it. He takes what the defense gives. He is on his way to a great career, I'm telling you.
Got an injury note we want to update you on Southern, but we'll let you know after this return right here. And a big-time return right here for Southern. That's Ezra Landry, still on his feet, inside Jackson State territory. That'll get the fans back into it as he takes it back to the 31-yard line, a 58-yard return.
As I said on the last kickoff, you cannot doodle at all. He takes the ball right here, and watch him just hit it. He just gets up close to his wedge and takes the ball and takes off. Uses the God-given speed he's got, accelerates in the hole, takes the ball, gives Southern great field position. Now right here, he does a good job of trying to get what he can get, but good pursuit by Jackson State to not allow the touchdown. But that's how you run a kickoff return.
Again, check that, a 68-yard return for the leading kick returner in the SWAC. So here's Fisher. He wanted to pitch the ball. And another mistake, and Jackson State jumps on it. Southern had done such a good job of not turning the football over as much as Jackson State. They had won in the first half, but this one right here may hurt more than any of the ones Jackson State.
As you look at the replay, what Fisher's got to do, he's got to make a decision, either fake it and take it or pitch the ball out. He really did. He was indecisive. That led to a bad pitch back to the running back. The quarterback has got to make a decision, and that's the whole key to running the option. You make a decision, whether it's right or wrong, and you go for it. I felt he should have faked it. If you fake it, the defensive end goes out, you cut up. That's the difference why maybe Quincy Richard is in there sometime, because he's got more speed and quickness at the quarterback position. That's a tough play for Southern because they had made that big kickoff return. Now they're back giving the ball to Jackson State in good field position.
Meanwhile, we've got a flag on the field, and Southern now has to play defense, and they've been playing without their best defensive player, Chris Cooper, the middle linebacker, as this penalty is charged to Southern. But Chris Cooper, the middle linebacker, injured his left Achilles, will not return, went down right at the half.
Bigger substitution on the defense. 5 yards. Still first down.
And without Chris Cooper, boy, it's tough defensively trying to stop Jackson State when you lose your best linebacker.
Absolutely. He's the best middle linebacker they have. He's always around the football all day long. He's created plays, but I think that's going to really hurt him. But now you see Jackson State has got more momentum. They are driving. They got everything going their way. I look for him to do something now. What I would do is go for it right now. Go for some kind of big play. Off a turnover, I like to create things.
So here it is, 1st and 5 after the penalty. Good blocking, looking downfield, trying to make a move at the jugular. Oh, they want more.
I've always been the kind of guy that when you have a turnover and the other team seems a little bit down, try to really step on them right now. Try to go for it. I love that. What it does is make the defensive backs wary. Now you can throw in front of them if you want to.
Or you can put the ball on the ground now because they're still thinking you're throwing the football.
Well, if you're Jackson State, everything you do works except when you make a mistake. If you execute, you have a chance to be successful.
2nd down and 5. This time they give it to Nolan. And Nolan drops the football. Another turnover for Jackson State. And Southern recovers.
I would like to see the replay because I thought he may have been down. The ground does not cause a fumble. As you look at the replay, a big hole by the offensive line. I could have run through that today. Lawrence Nolan gets up there, uses his speed. He hesitates a little bit. No, the ground did not cause the fumble. A good call by the referee. But a big man like that, when you get in the open field, you've got to put your arms around the ball, and that's the key to that.
They has themselves a pretty nice lead at 29-14, but you just wonder against the real good football teams, not to take anything away from Southern, but you cannot live by committing 6 turnovers.
You will die by that playing against a good football team, and I know that Robert Hughes is going to address that during the week.
Here's Fisher now with a chance to bring Southern downfield and try to cut into that lead. But his pass over the middle is incomplete.
What was interesting is we were talking to Coach Hughes and his offensive coordinator. They talked about what they do during practice. If you miss a ball or you drop a ball, you got to run. So next week they may run until their draws jump. They might try out for the New York Marathon and the Boston and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, they'll be in shape. Don't worry about that. Coach Daryl Asbury told us he's the offensive coordinator. He says, I hate mistakes. Wow, Daryl unleashes on the quarterback. But Fisher is able to complete the pass to his wideout, Hayes.
And you look, Bobby Hayes, number 90, gets a clear shot at the quarterback, but you really have to give Fisher a lot of credit. He stood in there and completed the pass to his favorite receiver, Michael Hayes, picking up positive yardage.
But Hayes is still shy of a first down by 6 yards. So here's a big third down situation for Fisher. Again, pressure. But this time he gets it out to Altravion Jobert, who gets just enough for a first down as he gets to midfield.
And Fisher's lucky he has those rib pads around his waist, because that time he took another hit, but he stood in there. I give any quarterback a lot of credit for standing there waiting for the receiver to get open and delivering the ball for the first down.
We've seen 2 quarterbacks for Southern today. Your thoughts on Fisher versus Richard?
I like Fisher because he stays in the pocket. Richard doesn't show me that he has the accuracy that he needs to be able to get the ball to your receivers on a timing pattern.
So here we are at midfield, 1st and 10. Good job by Fisher to elude the pressure. Throw on the run, complete to Jobert.
And I'll tell you after the flag, but this is the difference in the 2 quarterbacks. I think if Quincy Richard had it, he would have took off. But Anthony Fisher, what he did was buy time for himself and deliver the ball on time. But they're bringing it back. Penalties hurt you. They hurt you.
Thrown in the backfield.
You know, it's probably
holding. Yes.
Yep. Illegal motion.
Oh, okay.
Offense. 5 yards. It remains first down.
So still going backwards is Southern, despite the efforts of this young man right here, Anthony Fisher. Pass was overthrown, intended for Michael Hayes.
Well, Michael Hayes is mad because he was wide open on the play. If Fisher has that time, he's got to bring it down a little bit, even though Michael Hayes is 6'5".
Yes.
This ball was still too high. He's got to be frustrated. As you look at the ground level, he steps into it. The ball's a little bit too high for Fisher. Fisher being 6'5", the ball's way behind him and over his head. Poorly thrown ball by Anthony Fisher. I was just giving him credit. Now he takes it away.
He's 5 of 14 for 39 yards. Fisher is. Now he's completed his 6th pass as he gets it to Kentrell Plain. Plain gets away from one defender. Gets him in Jackson State territory, but he's still shy of a first down by about 7 yards after the 8-yard completion.
Now, Kentrell Plain and Michael Hayes have to be frustrated because they're senior receivers, and I think that's the first reception for Kentrell Plain today.
Clock continues to roll. Under 12 and a half left here in our football game. Southern trailing, but driving. That pass was too short for Hayes. Again, you see the frustration on Hayes. He's just the way his shoulders, his whole body, you can tell he just feels like they're not giving him an opportunity to make plays.
Well, when you're a senior, and I'm telling you this from experience, and you play on national TV, you know everyone's looking, so you want to do your thing. He hasn't been involved in the offense. He's been a very part. He's got a look on his face that he's totally frustrated and upset. Anthony Fisher threw a poorly thrown ball. He was open that time. There's nothing else he can do, though. But you can't show your frustration because it rubs off on the rest of your teammates.
You don't want your quarterback to feel like, oh.
What's wrong with
What
you?
am I doing? Johnson back to receive the punt. This one bounces. Oh, and Southern trying to make a play. And they're not going to say they downed it at the 1. It's going to be a touchback. Boy, they had an opportunity there to down the football and pin them inside the 5, unable to do so.
As you look at the replay, I felt that he should have knocked the ball at 24, but he got run into by his teammates. You can't really get mad at the effort, but I felt they should have been able to do that.
Well, obviously, Kobe Miller would have liked it to be inside the 5. We'll have more after this. He won't scream at him, will he? Bad crowd for a regular season matchup in the SWAC between Jackson State and Southern. Both teams coming in 1-2. Jackson State in their first conference game of the season. They lead this one 29-14 and have possession of the football as Tanaka Counselor takes the handoff. And you can see big old Coleman and the rest of those defensive linemen starting to get a little antsy, starting to get a little mad.
Absolutely, because you think about it, they've been running on passing all day. They haven't got to Kent. Counselor runs up in there tough, but takes a good hit. And running back, as long as you stay low and get it in your pad, that won't hurt you. It looked worse than it was, but Coleman's a bigger guy. Counselor's not that big.
He's a senior from Zachary. Zachary home to Doug Williams.
That's right.
Here's Kent, the Counselor. Counselor looking for a little room. And he he's tripped up after gaining about 3 to 4 yards on that play.
But I like it how Jackson State now is beginning to work the clock. They're running the football, trying to make sure that they keep their defense off the field. Good calls by Robert Hughes keeping the ball on the ground, 3rd and short.
Which is the advantage. Though they have a great passing game, it is so great to be able to still put that ball on the ground. We see football teams at all levels. They can pass the ball, but late in the game, I would assume possession of the football is the most important thing.
Right now, it is definitely to their advantage.
3rd down now and 3. Kent, and his pass was a little too high to catch for Torrey Ross, so that brings on a 4th down. So Pete Richardson says, hey, listen, guys, we're still in this thing. Got 10:48 left, trailing. They can pick themselves up a couple of touchdowns, and they're going to get a 2-point conversion. They tie this thing.
I think Southern University is lucky to be down only 29-14 at this time because they've been outplayed in every part of this football game.
Pete Richardson, you just saw, head coach of Southern, 4-time SWAC Coach of the Year. But now Dominic Addison's punt going to bounce at the 35-yard line, and it's going to be fielded by Landry. Landry had that big kickoff return that went for 68 yards. And now on the punt return, gives his team good field position. And you got a little smile on your face right now. It's that hair. It's got to be the hair.
Gold and silver. Grambling and Tennessee State have indeed found a silver dollar. Tonight, the inaugural Silver Dollar Classic coming up next.
Don't understand what's going on.
And welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada. 2 proud, historically black colleges set to clash in the desert. It's the Tennessee State Tigers and the Grambling State Tigers. Hello, everybody. I'm Darren Horton, and welcome to the Chrysler NBC pregame show. Tonight, we have the first time ever that the Grambling Tigers will be in the state of Las Vegas to take on the Tennessee State Tigers. Stan Luter.
This portion of today's game is brought to you by Red Fusion from Dr. Pepper. Red Fusion, who's your soda?
Anthony Fisher and Southern trailing 29-14. They have 10.5 minutes left to try to make something happen. And they immediately try that delayed handoff inside as they give it to Leon Miller, the junior from New Orleans.
And good tackle by James McCown. They say he is a hitter, and he's a headhunter. That thing in the back of his head is to protect his neck from snapping back because he hits so hard.
We saw him last week against Tennessee State. He was just crushing folks. Here's Fisher on 2nd down. And again, the pass is too low for Hayes.
And see, the thing about it is I watched the route that Mike Hayes runs, and he's wide open.
How about the total yards? I mean, Jackson State,
oh my goodness,
offensively, look at this.
In every category, 500 total yards to 134. That's totally getting a butt whooping.
Keep in mind, they are used to putting up big yards, and I'll tell you about what they had a couple of weeks ago against North Carolina A&T. Ooh, after this play. And high, Kentrell Plain, excuse me, was the intended receiver, and Lamont Woolard just wanted to, let him know that this is where I stay.
But as you look at the replay, Anthony Fisher had a lot of pressure on him. He had to get rid of the ball because he knew somebody was coming. But you can't throw the ball in the middle of the field toward the safety in the corner. And I call that, I'll just give you my definition, is called a hospital ball.
Because you're on your way.
Yes, because your receiver's running into the safety. He kind of short-armed him. He didn't want to get that ball.
That was 3rd down and 10, so they didn't convert. Miller is forced to punt it yet again. Tim Manning, who calls for the fair catch at the 25. 1st and 10 for Jackson State. When we return, they have a 15-point lead. So they have the ability to put the numbers up on the board, and they're doing it here today. On 1st down, they give it to Tanaka Counselor as they continue to work on that ground game and its yards. And he picks up 4, excuse me.
And because they do not have a tight end, what they do is they put one of the receivers in motion. That time it was Tim Manning. And what he does is try to cut off the end so that no one will come down the line to catch counter. It's a good move, but you're putting a small wide receiver on a big guy, and sometimes that's tough.
Second down and 6 after the 4-yard pickup by Counselor, who now has rushed for 79 yards in this ball game. Kent back to pass. Kent completes the pass to Chris Jones, and boy, they've been hooking up all day long, and because of Kent's efforts, well, do you think he's deserving of our player of the game, which is brought to you by Red Fusion from Dr. Pepper, Red Fusion, Hoosier Soda, Robert Kent, 341 yards, and we still got 9 minutes to go. I know there's a lot of people at home now sitting there saying, wait a minute, there's 9 minutes left in the football game, and y'all are already talking about who the player of the game is.
He has played extremely well. Absolutely. I think that the Southern offense is not doing enough to make us think they may come back.
Robert Hughes.
He's got to have mixed emotions because his team has come through when they had to, but they haven't played a perfect game by any means.
Here's a man that has just been a part of Jackson State for the last 30 years, a member of the coaching staff for 28, played here, graduated here.
Played in the NFL.
He was first named the interim coach May 4th of '99, and then after doing a great job getting the club to the SWAC championship game, they gave him the head job. And what a job he's doing this year with this football team. He looks like he has a little bit of everything.
Yes, he does. And that offense is very potent. I think if they continue to try to work and try to cut down on their mistakes, they're going to be tough as the season rolls along. That time I thought Robert Kent showed his athleticism and his arm strength by putting the ball right on the money to Cleotis Gordon, and he did a good job of picking up the first down again.
Picked up 13 yards on the play, 1st and 10. At the 45, and this one really would put a nail in the coffin if they could get some points out of here. As Kemp doing a good job. You see the play clock rolling all the way down to 1. Kent fakes, throws downfield. Wide open is Gordon. Touchdown, Jackson State. I talked about putting a nail in the coffin. I didn't know they were going to do it right away. 45-yard touchdown play right there.
I think the fat lady is beginning to sing a little bit because right now, this second half, Jackson State has played a much better half than they did the first time, and Robert Hughes has got to be happy. As you look at the replay, he pumped him, he threw the cornerback off, he ran out and up, simply put the ball on the money. Cleotis did a good job. Cleotis Gordon did a good job of making sure that he caught the ball before he ran, and really, they made it look very easy. Robert Kent, boy, I'm telling you, this guy has really impressed me today. If he can work on his game, on his footwork and stuff, I guarantee NFL scouts have got to be happy. And he made it.
And Ashley continues to make it an adventure on point after.
As you look at the ISO, what he does when he's running, he runs a kind of out, a corner, and up. The defensive back fell for it. He was wide open, and I like the way Robert Kent did. Just get him the ball, make sure he catches it, goes in for the touchdown.
So Cleotis Gordon, with his first touchdown reception of the season, gives Jackson State the big lead. All Jackson State here in the second half, as they have just been dominating. They have outscored Southern 22-0 after a 14-14 tie at intermission. And now Landry having his problems picking up the football, looking for some room, and the Tigers converge on him immediately as he's brought down at the 20. But how about Robert Kent again? 26 of 35 for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no. Now, they've dropped the ball on fumbles, but he hasn't thrown any interceptions.
And that's the key from a quarterback position. He's fumbled the ball when he's ran it, but he hasn't thrown the ball in double coverage. He's taken what the defense gives. He's the leader of the team. He's got a great personality. He's a guy that everyone likes to be around. I think that, you know, he's only a junior. If he continues to work on his game, he can maybe break all of Aaron McNair's records, which he's motivated to do.
Last year, and we'll go back to Kent in a second, is inside handoff for Southern. And looks like Miller's into the game now for Southern as he picks up 4. But last year, Kent threw for 300 yards 6 times. 400 yards 4 times. And he had 3 touchdowns or more in a game 8 times. I mean, those are great numbers. And he was a sophomore last year. I'm almost scared to think of what he could do next year when he's a senior.
There's a penalty on the play, but he has all the tools to play in the NFL, and all he has to do is have the work ethic and work hard at his game and just kind of have fun. He's the kind of player that has fun. You look at him out there, he's having a good time. Got his sunglasses on. Look at him.
Wow. Is he having fun or what?
But he's got to be careful because he's an offensive player that depends on other people. If you look at that sometimes, maybe, you know, if you're another team and you have to play him, you might want to do something. So, but I like his attitude. He's a very, very good guy to be around. He's fun-loving. I love his red shoes. I love them. It must be the shoes.
But, you know, one of the great visuals there, and as a product of an HBC, it is a good feeling you have to be part of a university, to be proud. It makes you feel good. It makes you move. It makes you dance.
Well, when you win and have success, there's no greater feeling in the world.
That helps more. Now he's getting loose. We just hope that Coach Hughes doesn't see this down the road and say, wait a minute, son. We still had 6:45 left on the clock, but you doing that. This pass is complete by Fisher as he finds his receiver Ard.
And I have to give Fisher credit because he's still battling. If you think about it, there's always reason to play because you're battling to keep the starting position or to take the starting position. So he's got to execute and still make sure he does the right thing if he wants to start next week.
1st and 10 at the 45. Clock rolling under 6.5 left. Again, looking for Hayes. He has had a hard time hooking up.
Now, the bad thing about that play is that Michael Hayes created a big separation from the defensive back. He was open by 10 yards, and Fisher missed him. So that's the thing that frustrates you as a receiver because you have to work so hard to get open. There was great separation, and the ball was underthrown. Fisher has completed just 8 of 22 passes for 72 yards. 2nd down and 10 at the 45. His pass is intended for Kentrell Plain and overthrows him. Now, if I'm asking you, would you start Anthony Fisher or Quincy Richard next week? I personally like Richard a little bit more. I like him because he's agile. You know, he's a junior. You know you're going to have him again next year. True. And if there's not that big of a difference between the two, then maybe you go with the young guy. Not to take anything away from Anthony Fisher, who, like you said, has been gutsy all day long here in the 2nd half. Fisher again off the back foot, passes incomplete, intended for Jobert. That'll bring up 4th down. I think the most frustrating thing from a receiver standpoint is when you work so hard to get open and you create separation. That's what you're supposed to do when you run against a defensive back. Create separation to give your quarterback room for error. And the quarterback doesn't get the ball there. That's the tough part. Do I need to tell you guys how happy Jackson State is right now? Or are the pictures doing all my talking for me? 4th down and 10. Miller is forced to punt it again. Michael Jackson awaits the kick. This one bounces over his head. And this time Southern will be able to down the ball inside the 5-yard line. And that's where Jackson State will take over. Let's see if Robert Kent has more dance in him. Here to the Louisiana Superdome is, what do they call that? Throwing that little mojo at them, letting them know that this thing is over. Robert Kent, 26 of 35 for 400 yards, and needless to say, he's no longer in the game. I guess that's why he had that freedom to do his little thing on the sideline. Well, I don't think he would have put them sunglasses on if he was coming back in here.
Brian Green now is back in from Magnolia, Mississippi. 1st down. Another flag thrown on the field as you get a good look at the sophomore, 6'3", 215 pounds. In the 1st half, I mean, he threw some pretty good balls. He had a chance at a touchdown pass that was dropped at the end, at the goal line, but he threw a couple of good strikes. Robert Jacobs went up and got one.
He showed good poise, good presence for the pocket.
He's going to have to get his team 90 29 yards downfield if he wants 6 on this possession. So Jackson State, who, as I said, began the season #2 in black college football, has Mississippi Valley next week, then a very good Alabama State team. L.C. Cole has the Hornets playing great. Then Doug Williams and Grambling. Are you kidding me? Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Alabama A&M, Prairie View, and Alcorn State also much improved and playing great under Coach Thomas. And of course, there's the SWAC championship in December on the 14th, and Jackson State hopes that they're representing.
Well, Robert Hughes, Coach Hughes, has enough mistakes in this game where he can really teach when he goes back next week, because they made a lot of mistakes that they shouldn't have made. If they cut down on the mistakes, it's going to be hard for anybody to beat them. But they got to cut down on the mistakes.
Dropping the football. How much does playing in the dome, playing on turf, when you don't do that often, does that change the whole scheme?
Well, your footing is different, and it's more faster than grass, and you have to be careful, and you have to be more sure of your footing.
This pass over the middle. Ha! Robert Jacobs. And that's close to another first down. Meanwhile, Southern's remaining schedule looks like this. Nicholls State next week. Then it's Alabama A&M on the 5th of October. If I'm not mistaken, that's a game you'll see right here on BET. That'll be the Circle City Classic. Mississippi Valley, then Prairie View, Alcorn, Miles, Texas Southern, and they close out the season taking on Grambling in the Bayou Classic.
The Southern has got a lot of situations to really deal with because they're still unstable at the quarterback position. They had their middle linebacker, Chris Cooper, go down today with an Achilles injury. They've got some problems that they've got to take care of. And the thing about it is that Pete has got to really get his thing together, because I know that he's going to do some yelling during the course of the week.
Yeah,
Pete Richardson, yeah.
Absolutely. This guy has been around a long time, folks. He knows how to coach this game. And he's always had a solid team here at Southern.
But I'm impressed with Jackson State because they've got talent on both sides of the ball, and they really play well. And they seem like they fight hard for Coach Hughes.
2nd down and 8. Jackson State decides to keep it on the ground. This time they give it to Charles Lee, the sophomore running back. And I'll tell you what, when you got the kind of lead that they have, and you put those kind of numbers up, when you're on the bench, you're sitting there cheering because you know you're going to get an opportunity like this man right here to get out there and stretch your stuff. And I would assume that Robert Hughes is feeling good knowing that he can get some work with some of these younger guys.
And you can't get experience on the bench. You've got to be in the game to really feel what it's like. Ooh.
Green completes yet another pass to Torrey Ross. The one thing, though, is that when you look at guys like Ross and Cletus Gordon, they're freshmen. So you don't really take them off the field, and yet they contributed when it really counted. But a guy like this right there, Torrey Ross, 6'4", 190, great size for this young man.
And he's going to get bigger. He's going to get stronger because you need to have a little bit of strength when you play wide receiver. You look at some of the big receivers and the strength that they have to go against the smaller defensive backs. That's a big advantage.
He's been playing all game, but why take him out? He's a freshman. He needs some time. It looks like a little offsides.
See, sometimes the center will prematurely snap the ball when he sees a defender coming offside. And I thought Chris Bates did a good job of really keeping up with what's going on.
As you get a good look at Jonathan St. Cyr, 6'5", 315 pounds. 22 players are from New Orleans on this Southern team. St. Cyr is one of them. Here's Green on 2nd down. Pass complete. Wow. As he continues to throw strikes, and we look now at our remaining schedule here on BET. By the way, that was Deion Smith with the catch. We've got Southern, Alabama A&M, the Circle City, and then at Magic City Classic, Alabama State, Alabama A&M. That's going to be a smoker, folks. Then Alabama State and Grambling will be even better than that on November 9th. And then it's the SWAC Championship, December 14th, coming your way from Birmingham, Alabama. 1st and 10. Brian Green watching defenders flying towards him. Eats it. But we are now under 2 minutes. Sorry.
And the good thing is that he didn't have anybody open and he didn't force the ball.
Right.
That is a good, mature effort by a young quarterback, and that's what you need, him to make good decisions when they count. And I think that they've got a future here at Southern University. I really feel that Southern University is, you know, they may be in that December 14th game if they can cut down on their mistakes.
So Southern going to be home for the first time after 4 road games when they take on Nicholls State.
Non-conference.
Although this is a home game, but not really their home. Another carry. Charles Lee, sophomore, up the middle.
Charles Lee reminded me of Counselor on that play, because once he saw the daylight, he showed his acceleration in the hole. What I like to see from a running back is when they do see a hole, see that acceleration. Get to it like you want to be there.
Timeout on the field with 1:06 left. And you wonder, you get a look at Darryl Asbury calling his troops over. He still has that look on his face like they're doing something wrong. Did he ever stop coaching?
No.
He never stopped.
No, I've never been on a team when we beat somebody by a lot and the coach was totally satisfied. He's going to come back and yell at somebody for something. He don't want you to be satisfied, because as a football player, you strive to be perfect. That's why you run the same play over and over during the week of practice, because you want to be perfect on game time. If you get knocked out, you got a concussion, you still want to build a way that you got to go to the east instead of the west.
You know,
and I think that's the difference.
It cracks you up when you see these coaches and they, you know,
they're still mad. They got that look. Yep.
And they come out to the press conference then and go, we dropped the ball.
Yep.
That's what we're going to talk about.
Yep.
You won by 50.
That's part of being a coach.
Dropped the ball.
Never satisfied.
You need something, I guess, for that next week in practice.
To coach.
To make those kids work on.
And to teach. You're always teaching.
So with this win, Jackson State will improve their record to 2-2. They opened up the season with a loss to Southern Miss, and then a heartbreaking loss to North Carolina A&T, but rebounded with wins over Tennessee State and then over Southern. And you saw both games here on BET. I got a feeling they're going to give us a call and say, listen, can't you do all our games? Again, handing it off to the tailback, Charles Lee. Clock continues to roll. 7-yard pickup.
But, George, what's important is this is a conference game, and at the end of the season, they add up. If you can get going in your conference, no matter what happens in non-conference, it gives you a lift. And you want to be there December 14th and at least have a chance to play in the SWAC championship.
So Pete Richardson taking off the headset as you watch Jackson State. Now all they really have to do is the clock continues to roll under 40 seconds left. Is put a knee down, but they're throwing the football downfield. Are you kidding me? Do you think Southern's going to forget that?
See, that's the thing that coaches never forget. A coach does not forget that kind of stuff.
You know, and our producers in our ear now screaming, wait a minute, it's the backup quarterback. Do you think it matters? No, if you put 6 on the board, you put another 6 on the board, oh my.
I think that if I was Coach Richardson, I would be mad. I really would. Just like if somebody's beating me in anything, I get mad. If you and I was playing pool and you beat me, I'm going to be mad.
And then I start dancing.
And then I'll be really mad thinking about what can I do.
I scream at everybody in the pool hall. I am taking him out. Why is he playing with me right now?
Still throwing the ball.
Yes, they are.
They should run and get the clock going.
Yes,
see.
absolutely. See, we
really
talked about that before, too. And the clock's still running. You know,
I'm glad they showed Richardson right there. I'm glad, because I wanted to see us going with 30 seconds left.
And you throwing the football downfield.
Throwing the football.
3rd down now. Clock has stopped at 30 seconds.
Now he's running the ball.
And now they decide to run the football.
It's over now.
And I would assume that Pete will say, hey, listen, man, let's just get out of here. Let's go regroup for Nicholls State. So once again, as the clock continues to roll with this win, Jackson State goes to 2-2. Southern, with the loss, now drops to 1-3.
Hey, George, it was a pleasure working with you, buddy. I tell you, it was a lot of fun.
I don't feel like I've worked. I really just had a lot of fun.
That feels real good. Thank you so much, Billy. This was a lot of fun. As now they hold on to it, Brian Green holds it. So Jackson State now with no time left wins this one 36-14.
Today's Black College Football.
So Robert Kent absolutely outstanding in this one and leads his club to a 36-14 win over Southern as they improve their record to 2-2. They are now 1-0 in conference play. Southern takes the loss, falls to 1-1 in the SWAC, 1-3 overall. For Billy Taylor, I'm George Johnson. For the rest of our BET crew, want to thank Jack Duggan for his help on stats, and everybody else, thanks for tuning in. Robert Hughes and his club walk out of the Superdome with a victory.
State.